Passing in your house, madam. She wasn't burglarizing your house. She was bitten by your pit bull. That's what the case is about.
She was told not to go into my house.
If I believe you. Now I'm going to look at your video.
Footage of Mila stepping through a door, then backing out onto a porch.
She even said it was her fault.
It wasn't her fault. It was your fault. You had the dangerous animal.
How is it my fault? I told her not to go in my house.
Don't ask me any questions, madam.
And now, the conclusion. Mila Bazin is suing her former employer, Sarah Adams, for lost wages and pain and suffering after being bit by Sarah's pit bull.
Okay, my issue actually is, in addition to everything else, why would a seemingly smart woman have a dog that she would have to warn people about to come to her front door? Why? I say to myself, why? I don't understand that. And when I was preparing for this case today, looking at the complaint and looking at the answer, I could do a little multitasking. I was reading the newspaper. This is Today. A 7-year-old Louisiana girl was mauled to death by a neighbor's pit bull after it ran into her family yard. The name of the person is here. A child was playing outside her East Baton Rouge Parish home Friday when the dog barreled onto the property and viciously attacked her. Family member tried to stop the dog by hitting it with a walking cane, but the animal couldn't be deterred. First grader suffered multiple bites to her face and severe skull damage. She died. The dog was euthanized. The dog's owner told the officers he wasn't home during the attack and regularly lets the dog roam the neighborhood. He was charged Saturday with homicide.
Yeah.
Perfect. Perfect. I would go right from charge to execution.
Your Honor, I also have proof that another lady down the street was bitten by...
I'm going to get to you. I'm not finished.
Okay.
I'm not finished. I don't understand. I have others because it looks like you look like dog-sitting mom killed by pit bulls. North Carolina woman was mauled to death by 2 pit bulls she was dog-sitting for after the mother warned her to stop watching the animals, according to reports. That's all. Husband came home, found her in the backyard being eaten by 2 pit bulls that she was watching for her son. I don't understand. I have more, but I won't bore you with more. So I don't understand why intelligent people have a dog that they know is capable of killing somebody, of just turning and killing somebody. I don't understand it. I think, insurance companies can legally discriminate against people who have pit bulls by saying, we're not going to insure you. And there's a reason for that.
But, Your Honor, I told her before she left not to go in my house. My dog was not outside. My dog was in my home, protecting my family.
I want you to look at the video again. And unless your daughter is a moron and can't follow your instructions, she did not say to her, wait outside.
I understand that.
Just a second. She saw her. She was in charge of your home that day. She permitted her to come in and put the drink down. She did that. You want to watch the video again, or do you acknowledge it?
I don't need to watch
So
the
you
video
acknowledge it. So I don't care what you said to her. When she got there, the circumstances were such that your daughter, who is taller than you are, was very happy to have her come in instead of saying, you're not allowed to come into my house because we have this vicious dog.
She's not vicious.
Oh, yes, a dog that bites somebody that's coming in
She was protecting my children in my home.
Just a second. I understand what you're saying, and I'm saying to you that she came in with your daughter within inches from her. And your daughter, when she opened the door, didn't you see the dog?
No, I didn't realize.
What? You didn't realize?
No, it happened so fast. When I entered the door, I then realized, so I came back to rush to stop Mila, but she already got bit. It was too late. So it is my fault.
Right!
It's not your fault.
I love that. It's too bad that you can't teach that to your mother. It's really too bad you can't teach your mother to say, it's my fault. I have a dog that can be vicious. And so far, the dog has not been vicious to my children. I hope for your sake and your brother's sake that one day the dog doesn't get annoyed with one of your brothers. I just hope. I mean, this lady was about your size, the one that was killed by the 2 pit bulls. An older lady. So I'm hoping your mother chooses to have that instead of double locks taking care of her children. Great. But then she has to pay the consequences.
Caption coming up.
I mean, I have to tell you, I'm old. I'm very old. I'm probably the oldest person that you know. I have never read one article where a Shih Tzu killed a person. That's why I have Shih Tzus. You have Chihuahuas?
Yeah.
I've never heard about a Chihuahua killing a person. Ever.
A courthouse. The Judy Justice logo appears. In the courtroom, Mila, Sarah Adams, and April.
Mila Bazin claims her former employer, Sarah Adams, owes for injuries after being bit by Sarah's dog. Sarah says Maya accepted a $300 settlement from the incident.
Now, may I see the note that you had from a previous neighbor?
Yeah, so this is a text message from Sarah to me stating that the neighbor down the street...
I can read.
Okay.
Nobody can state to you.
Judy reviews a document.
Okay. What was the name of the other woman that got bit by your dog?
Your Honor, it was my neighbor, and
Just a second. I asked you for a name. Did she get bitten anywhere around this time?
No.
What year?
It was 2020, and it was a dog fight that me and her were both trying to break up.
Just a second. It was 2020.
2021, excuse me.
Okay.
She is my neighbor.
Just a second. So a year before, when in 2021? Give me a month.
I don't remember.
Summer, fall, winter,
Fall.
spring?
It was fall.
So you're talking about September or October.
Somewhere around there, yes.
Was she treated for the dog bite?
No, Your Honor, it was not severe.
The answer is no. She was not treated for her dog bite. Not seen by anybody.
Correct.
Okay, can I see photographs of the dog bite, please?
And I also have the first initial appearance that I went to the hospital.
Mila hands photos to Kevin, who brings them to Judy. She reviews images of skin contusions and puncture wounds.
Now you can step back up. I have another question for you.
Judy turns to April.
Now you were there. I heard you say from inside, "Oh, I'm sorry, I'm so sorry." Is that right?
Yes.
Yeah, at least twice. Now, after this happened, what did the plaintiff do?
Called me.
No. After this happened, just you and your two younger brothers were home. What did the plaintiff do? She was sitting outside on the porch.
We came and gave her some towels.
Who's we?
My brother.
So you got some towels. I saw she asked you for some towels.
Mm-hmm. And then we tried to give her some Band-Aids.
Put the paper down. You're annoying me.
She said, just let me come in. So I put away the dog.
She said what?
Just let me come in. So I put away the dog, and I put her, she was in my mom's bathroom, and we were finding Band-Aids and rinsing it off.
And
And
the
then
next day she came
I
to
didn't
my house.
ask you a question. Now she's in your mother's bathroom. She's trying to clean it up, and you put the dogs where?
We have kennels for them, cages.
In kennels.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. You have kennels for them that you put them in at what time of day? Or when anybody is coming over? When do you use the kennels?
We use them when we leave, or about to leave, or if somebody's coming over that they haven't met.
Okay. Now you knew that the plaintiff was coming over. Your mother had told you the plaintiff was coming over.
Yes.
Okay. And did your mother tell you in that phone conversation, would ordinarily ask, because I know I live with people your age and a little bit older, when is McDonald's going to be here? When is it going to be here? Did you ask your mother that question?
No.
Did she give you any indication about how long it would take?
No.
How did you know when plaintiff arrived?
The car pulled up.
So you were looking outside for the car?
Yes.
Great. And when were you looking outside for the car? You knew the food had arrived.
Yeah.
You went outside.
Yes, I closed the door right behind me.
Of course. You closed the door behind you. You went and got the food. There was extra food. She was clearly following you, and you clearly saw that she was following you into the house.
No.
Well, by the time you got to the front door, you want to see it again? You turned around, you saw that she was there, behind you.
That's when I went in the house. That's
No,
when
no,
I
no, no,
realized.
no, right before. Right before. Play it again, Sam.
Footage of April carrying food while approaching the house.
She's now out of the car. You're calling your brothers. Turn around, you look at her and smile, say nothing. She walks in. So you say nothing to her. Got it? Don't come in here. Don't come in, just leave it outside. You're both smiling. Smiling. You want to see it again? No, you were both smiling when you walked in. Play it again, Sam.
Footage of Mila approaching April from behind. April turns to her.
Got it?
Okay, thank you. Got it? Got it?
Yeah.
Okay,
That's when
very
I
good.
realized.
Ms. Bazine, if, quite frankly, the only thing that's distressing to me about your complaint is that you're only suing her for $3,500. That's the only thing that is, you know, as far as I'm concerned, you could have just as easily been really seriously injured. And to me, people who will keep an aggressive dog, that's an aggressive dog, at home for whatever reason, especially a breed that has been determined to be a potentially dangerous breed of animal, deserves any consequences. This guy, this 20-year-old idiot, is going to jail. If I was sentencing him, he would go to jail for a very long time as an example. Maybe you have to set examples for people who allow innocent people to get killed because they like a particular breed of dog. I mean, I have to tell you, I'm old. I'm very old. I'm probably the oldest person that you know. I have never read one article where a Shih Tzu killed a person. That's why I have Shih Tzus. I've heard them, they nipped my finger maybe, you know, they ripped my stockings, they ate the furniture leg, but I've never read a piece. You have Chihuahuas, you have Chihuahua.
Yeah.
I've never heard about a Chihuahua killing a person, ever. Ever. So if you're dumb enough to have a dog, you have to accept the consequences. This guy is going to accept the consequences for his stupidity, for letting his pit bull roam around by going to jail. And you're going to accept the consequences by paying the exact amount that she's requesting, which is $3,500. Your counterclaim is stupid, and it's dismissed.
Your Honor.
And I'm done with you.
Your Honor, we had an agreement that she signed.
Done with you.
We had an agreement that she signed.
Caption coming up.
I was very high on narcotics and coming under the influence of coming out of the hospital. I do not remember signing this. And if it was for her to make me feel better because of what happened.
I'm sorry, Miss Bazin, that's not going to fly with me.
A courthouse. The Judy Justice logo appears. In the courtroom, Mila, Sarah Adams, and April.
Defendant Sarah Adams is accusing her former employee, Mila Bazin, of harassment after her dog bit Mila. Mila claims she did not agree to Sarah's $300 settlement.
We had an agreement that she signed. She signed the agreement
Just a second.
for $300, and we were done.
Okay, I'd like to see that.
Please.
If she,
On top of that, the next day she came back into my house to meet the dog
I don't
that
care.
bit her.
I don't care.
You made
What
me-
do I
It turned
care?
You
into
made
what it
me
What do
turned
I
meet the
care
dog.
about that? Why would you
she
bring the...
got bit. She picked at it. I have all this evidence that she picked at it, and that's what it turned into because she didn't take care of it.
I have to tell you, I don't care whether she took care of it or whether it got infected. If I got bitten by somebody's vicious dog, I don't care whether it got infected or not. That's a traumatic event.
The only reason why I was suing.
Just a second. But if you signed a release to her,
She did.
that's a different story.
No, I didn't.
She signed that paper.
Don't.
Sarah Adams hands a document to Kevin, who brings it to Judy. She reviews it.
Why did you sign this? This is clear. First, Kevin.
Can I see it, please? And when is it dated on?
Well, it says this agreement settles a dog bite that happened on 7/18.
This was signed in October and November.
Shh. If you shout out again.
Because I
it's
was
not-
missing all my money. I was not getting paid. I needed something from her.
What do you mean? I don't understand what you mean you weren't getting. Here.
Is there a date on this?
And I do have other things that she signed if you need to verify the signature.
I was very high on narcotics and coming under the influence of coming out of the hospital. I do not remember signing this. And if it was for her to make me feel better because of what happened.
I'm sorry, Miss Bazin, that's not going to fly with me.
Well,
That's not going to fly with me. If you accepted the $300,
No, I didn't.
shh, pay careful attention to what I'm saying before you answer. If you and the defendant in any action can at any time, even without a lawyer, if neither of you have a lawyer, I'm speaking, can settle a claim if they wish to settle a claim before getting the courts involved. That can happen. And that should happen in many instances. I'm not quite sure this one, but it certainly should happen more often than not. You settle for less than you were entitled to. You settled for $300. Did she give you $300?
No, Your Honor.
May I see that document, please?
She did not.
Okay, let's see whether
Also
she did.
referring to a car battery?
No. Let's not get ahead of ourselves. I agreed to give Mila $300. Did she give it to you?
No.
Show me that you gave it to her. And when?
I gave her cash. It's on camera at work. I handed her at work with my boss there. My boss, you can call him right now.
I'm not calling your
boss.
Listen to me. I'm not calling your boss. That's your problem to prove it.
I also helped her when her car broke down.
I don't
paid
care.
for a battery.
I don't care.
I paid for
Listen
lift
to me.
rides for her.
I don't
dog
care.
bit me.
Shh. I don't care. All I want to see is proof that you handed her.
I gave her cash.
$300.
I don't have proof because I gave her cash. and
Well,
it's
that's a
stupid.
problem for you. Did she give you cash?
Your Honor, no.
No,
She
just
helped
a-
me out with a car battery,
would
and then
you
she
sign that?
accumulated.
Just a second. It doesn't say that you gave her $300.
Your Honor, she's
It
lying.
says I agreed to give her.
She's lying. I handed her $300 and made her and had her sign that at work. We did it at work. She's lying.
How she threatened
Well,
me.
then I'm going to give this to you. She says you didn't give her the $300. You have no proof that you gave her the $300. You have no proof.
I don't.
You don't have any proof. $3,500. Judgment for the plaintiff. We're done.
This court is adjourned.
I feel like if it would have been a Shih Tzu that bit her and did that damage, I feel like the judge would have gone in my favor.
And I knew I would get justice coming here for pit bulls. She takes care of the community. I'm so glad that happened that way.
I had a lot of evidence, and the reason why her bite turned into what it looks like now is because she didn't take care of it. She picked at it.
I was happy to bring the kids food. I'm that type of person.
Because I have documentation of her picking at it. She went to the hospital 4 different occasions.
Pretty traumatizing.
I know she was fine because I have text messages that prove that she was fine.
And all of a sudden, the dog just got me.
That it was her fault. She knew better than to go in the house.
Right when I walked in, the dog lynched and grabbed my leg.
I walked in, and then I realized there was a voice behind me. I went back and saw that Milo was back, and she got bit by that time, so I went to go help her.
Locked its jaw. The burnt tooth went really far down deep. Me and the baby girl both had to hit the dog to get him off of me.
I picked up the dog, and I put her in her kennel.
Very terrifying. I still have PTSD, and even watching that video was shocking.
She was constantly complaining about the dog bite to myself, my boss, slandering me every chance that she got.
Absolutely ridiculous.
And I said, Mila, look, this needs to be settled once and for all.
Bullied me and put me in a position, cornered me, and made me do what she wanted to do. She was my boss, so whatever she said, I had to do.
What do you want? She said, give me $300 and I'll sign something saying we're done. So that's what I did.
I don't know. Some people are different.
Sarah and Judy.
So I just wanted to point out a distinction in the articles that you brought in. I know you've been hearing these pit bull cases for decades, and so I understand your outrage every time you see one. But the distinction in the news articles that you brought in today as examples, as well as this case, there's a couple key differences. One, the main one being, in the newspaper articles, the dogs were outside the home, outside the control. And in this case, the defendant wanted to make it especially known that the dog never left her home. However, from a legal standpoint, it's a more egregious charge if you allow your dangerous animal out and about in society without any sort of warning. However, just because it's inside your home doesn't absolve you from that responsibility. The plaintiff was still an invitee into the home. Like you had said, the daughter had every opportunity from the street all the way up the sidewalk, all the way onto the porch, and even into the screen door that you can see on the video opened up. Never once said, oh, just wait outside. Even with my own dogs. Or leave the food on the porch. Even with my own dogs, golden retrievers, sometimes I never know if they're going to be overexcited. I say, just hang on 1 second out here. Let me make sure they're good. And I make sure they're happy, whatever. And then I say, come on in. So she had every opportunity to do that, and she didn't. So like you had mentioned to her, it's not like the plaintiff was a trespasser or trying to steal or trying to harm her children. And you're still responsible for your dangerous animals, even if they're inside your home.
Yeah.
So just think that's a word to the wise, that it's not just when they're outside your control that you can be held liable.
I thought it was awesome.
Robin Major, for scooter damages after Robin hit Matthew's scooter.
Court come to order. All rise.
Have a seat, everyone.
Kevin approaches Judge Judy.
Hello, Judge. Case 2197, Klinghoffer versus Major.
Thank you.
Judy turns to Matthew.
You were riding a motor scooter.
Yes, ma'am.
Can you describe it for me, please?
It is a 2018 Yamaha Zuma.
Is that a small?
No, I got a picture of it here.
Can I see that, please?
Matthew hands a document to Kevin, who brings it to Judy. She reviews an image of a scooter.
Yeah, well, it's small.
Yeah, it's a
And
small vehicle.
you were on this vehicle with a child.
Yes, ma'am.
That was your son, who's how old?
12.
What's his name?
Justin Barr.
He's not here today.
No,
Why not?
he has autism.
And you were riding with him going where on October 20th of last year?
I just picked him up from school and I was on my way home.
How far is it?
The school is less than a half a mile from my home.
Do you pick him up every day?
Most of the time, yeah, but since this accident, I have not picked him up since. Mom does.
So there's a car available to
Yes.
pick him up. It's your claim that the defendant, while acting negligently, hit your scooter and damaged it.
Yes,
You
ma'am.
want him to be responsible. That happened on the 22nd of October. I assume sometime after 3 o'clock?
Yes, it was at
In
318
In what state do you live?
Evansville, Indiana.
Is there any sort of helmet rule in Indiana?
No, ma'am.
Yes, there is.
My son, for a child, yes.
Just
he
a
was.
second. So the answer is either yes or no. You
Yes,
said
ma'am.
no. So
for
there
me, no. For my son, yes.
was your son wearing a helmet?
Yes, ma'am.
No, he was
Shh,
not.
shh. No, listen to me. Shh. Don't speak.
He had a small purple bicycle helmet on
Now, you wear a helmet because
to keep him from getting his head hurt.
hurt.
Yeah.
Right. Well,
Which
just for my own interest, why wouldn't you wear a helmet to prevent you from getting hurt?
Dumb is what dumb does.
Well, that would be an answer because that sounds sort of reckless to me.
Yes, ma'am. I wear a helmet now.
And I'm not so sure your son was wearing a helmet on the 22nd of October either, sir. So I want you to be very, very careful when I ask you this question again. Are you positive that your son was wearing a helmet on the 22nd of October?
No, ma'am. I wasn't 100% positive,
Okay.
but he normally
Sure, just a sec.
always is wearing a helmet.
Okay. On your way home, I understand you have some sort of a chart to try to explain to me what the accident was. This is your version of the accident. So you want to
Yes.
step over there, Mr. Klinghoffer?
Yes, ma'am.
That would be you and your son riding, both of you, probably without helmets. And it looks, that's your version, and it looks
I
as if...
was sitting in traffic.
Just a second.
Sorry.
And it looks as if there's a lot of traffic.
Yes, ma'am.
So a lot of traffic, no helmets, you're on your way home, and, go ahead.
I was just sitting in traffic here, waiting for the train to clear, and he comes out of his driveway and backs right into me.
Okay.
No horn, no regard of me being
wait,
there or
Wait, one
nothing.
second. On the other side, this is your chart.
Yes, ma'am.
On the other side of where the defendant's driveway is, which I assume is the blue car, that's his driveway, is that a street?
Yes, ma'am.
You know where I'm talking about?
Yes,
Point to
ma'am.
where I'm talking about.
This is a street
Yes,
called...
that's a street.
Yes.
And that's a street that has cars.
Yes, ma'am.
Right. So one would say you should not be in that intersection.
Well, I
Just a
didn't,
second. Just a second. One would say, even in your chart, you should not be in that intersection. You should be either have enough room in front or wait until the traffic moves because you're stuck in the middle. So a car can't move out of...
I was actually sitting about right here.
Well, this is your chart.
Yes, ma'am.
So you indicate that that chart is not absolutely correct.
No, it's
And
not.
that your scooter was right behind the three cars,
Behind these three cars here.
but still in the intersection.
Yes, ma'am.
Just a second.
We was coming to a rolling stop as the arms were coming down, so I didn't know where I was going to stop at, so I was rolling with traffic. And the vehicle that was in front of me was also pulling a trailer, and I couldn't see around it. It was a big box trailer.
So you couldn't see what was in front of you.
No, I could not. And I got as far away from his driveway as I possibly could.
No, you weren't even thinking about his driveway, sir. Let's be square. You know, it's not a good idea to make things up as you go.
No.
You didn't even know that his driveway was there.
Yeah, I did.
You did?
I
Just
knew
a
it was
second.
there, but
You-
I was trying to get it far enough out of the way of the intersection. I didn't think he was going to come out of his driveway and back into me, ma'am.
Well, so you were watching the other side, not the driveway?
Yeah,
Is
I
that
was
what
looking
you
at
say?
the intersection,
Yeah.
just making sure I got out of the intersection, got past the yellow line.
Okay. So he clipped the...
Rear, right by my taillight.
Yeah, back here.
Yes, ma'am.
And what happened? You can go back now.
And it literally just shoved me over.
Okay, go back. So it shoved you over. Now, when it shoved you over, did you land on one foot or did you land on the
Oh,
pavement?
we landed on the pavement. I tossed my son up because he was sitting in front of me. Up onto his feet.
Oh, hold on.
went into
Hold
dad
the phone.
mode.
Hold the phone. Your son was sitting in front of you.
Yes.
Is that what he said?
He was sitting in front of me.
So your son was driving.
No, he was not driving. I was driving.
I'm trying to get this picture in my head.
I'm being a
with this
protective
little,
parent.
just a second, with this little scooter. Your son was in front of you. This is one seat. So he was sitting in front of you.
Yes, ma'am.
Your 12-year-old.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes. And how tall is your 12-year-old?
Probably about 5 foot, if that.
My size.
Yes.
So, like a fully grown adult. He may be not yet fully grown for a kid, but I'm a fully grown adult, and I'm 5 feet tall, and I've been that my whole life. So I'm an adult.
Yes.
Right? Okay. So your adult child is sitting in front of you. You're sitting behind him.
Yes,
Now, I want you to explain to me, hold out your arms. I want you to explain to me how your son is in front of you, you're behind him in the back part of this seat, and you're driving. I want you to explain that to me.
Caption, coming up.
The 12-year-old driving the motor scooter.
He was not driving.
I don't believe you.
I don't believe you either.
I don't care whether you believe me. You're not judging me. I'm judging you. So that means that if I don't believe you, that's important. If you don't believe me, that is irrelevant.
A courthouse. The Judy Justice logo appears. In the courtroom, Matthew and Robin.
Matthew Klinghoffer claims fellow motorist Robin Major hit Matthew's scooter while Robin was pulling out of his driveway.
Go ahead.
I'm reaching around my son and driving. I've been doing it since I was 16. I've been driving scooters since I was 16.
Hey, you may have been driving scooters when you're 16, but I've been using my common sense for 80 years. And I don't see why your son wasn't sitting behind you so you didn't have to lean over on that big, long seat in order to be maneuvering this scooter. I'm not visualizing that, Mr. Klinghoffer, so I want you to take a deep breath. Kevin, let me see Mr. Major's diagram.
Robin hands a document to Kevin, who brings it to Judy. She reviews a photo of a scooter.
So I want your son is sitting in front on the seat. You're sitting in the raised portion behind him. I want you to put that down there.
Kevin brings the photo to Matthew.
Sitting back there in the raised portion makes me sit up much higher than him.
Matthew makes a mark on the photo.
Sarah, does your research indicate how long this thing is? Does it give any dimensions?
I'm sure I could find it.
Okay, so he clipped the back and you fell off?
We fell over. I stood my son back up. I got up.
So you fell over and son got up?
I got my son up. I got up. He was still pushing my vehicle. I got up to smack on the back of his window. And then he gets out and aggressively screaming at me, "Why are you smacking on my window? Why are you trying to break my window?"
Okay.
I asked him, "Why are you still proceeding to try to run over my vehicle?"
But he's not trying to run over your vehicle, sir. What kind of car did he have? He had a truck.
Chevy Blazer, 2003.
Big one. He's in a very high SUV, right? And you're in a very low scooter. Now, neither you or your son went to the hospital, is that right?
No, ma'am.
Neither you or your son had medical treatment at the scene.
My son was looked over, but that was
Just a second. Neither you had medical treatment at the scene.
No.
Neither you or your son went to a doctor.
No.
Now, do you have a photograph of what your scooter looked like after this accident? Because this is his photograph.
That's after the accident. There's another one.
Okay, I'd like to see what your photograph looks like.
There's all of them.
Mr. Klinghoffer of the motorcycle, because Mr. Major is handing me up his photographs of what this looks like.
Matthew produces photos.
Here's the whole stack.
Okay, so what we're talking about is this piece right here.
That's my exhaust. And
Just a second, that's what's damaged.
that
This
and
piece,
the upper panel there.
I don't see anything damaged in the upper
On my
panel.
picture, it shows it.
I'd like to see
I bet
it.
it does. Now, on that
Shh,
muffler,
shh,
that's rust.
That's not rust.
I might not know nothing about scooters, but I know what rust is like.
Mr. Major,
Yes, ma'am.
I don't know what's wrong with you. I made myself clear pleasantly to you, respectfully to you, but you certainly understood that here we don't talk to each other.
Yes, ma'am.
That you will have a turn right now. It's his turn.
Yes, ma'am.
And Your Honor, that wheelbase is 50 inches, so about 4 feet wheel to wheel.
Okay, so let me see. So from here to here, wheel to wheel is 4 feet. So sitting on the back here, in order to get to the handlebars,
Maybe like 3 feet.
3 feet. Hold out your arms. Nah. Okay. Now, just to complete your story, sir, Mr. Klinghoffer, this happened in October, and you said you wear a motorcycle helmet now, or a helmet now, since the accident.
Yes, ma'am.
Since this accident.
It scared me straight.
And did you or did you not have the scooter repaired?
No, I have not had it
Just a second.
repaired.
So the answer is no. Pay attention, Mr. Klinghoffer, from which I deduce, you're looking at your papers, from which I deduce that the motor scooter is operable. You've been using it since October, despite the, oh yes, that's what you just said.
I haven't been using it.
Who's been using it?
I got 3 others.
No.
I got 3 other scooters that I've been driving.
I don't
have
believe,
not been driving
just
that
a
one.
second, I don't believe you, sir.
Okay.
I want you to be really careful about what you say to me. You do wear a helmet now. Now you know where I'm going, Mr. Klinghoffer. Since the accident, so does your son. There is nothing that appears to be mechanically wrong with this motor scooter in either your photographs or his. Nothing mechanical.
Estimate.
I don't care what your estimate says, sir. My naked eye. First of all, you understand that I'm doubting.
I understand,
I'm doubting big parts of your story, Mr. Klinghoffer.
I understand, ma'am.
I doubt big parts of your story about whether or not you were wearing a helmet. I don't think your son was wearing a helmet. I think that this diagram indicates to me that you were in a place where you shouldn't have been. That's your diagram. He has his own diagram that'd probably be very different. So I am going to assume, because that's my common sense, that you and or your son have been riding this motor scooter since October and that it hasn't sat idly. I don't care what you got, because the pictures belie the fact that this motor scooter was damaged beyond being rideable. And that's if it was his fault. Okay, now we've got his picture, now we're coming to you. Is that a fair and accurate representation
Yes.
of the accident site?
No, it's not.
Yes.
Now,
How would you know? You wasn't even there. You didn't show up 20 minutes after the fact.
Excuse me.
You did not show up. She wasn't even there.
I'm going to throw you out, and you're going to lose this. I'm going to throw you out, and you're going to lose.
Called him an idiot in front of my son.
Okay, she's gone. Gone.
A woman leaves.
Yeah. I know why you can't afford insurance.
Gone.
We wouldn't be here today if he had insurance.
Did you understand why I threw your wife out?
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know what you people think this is all about. The fact that he had no, is what you say to me, he had no insurance, which is why you're here?
Yeah, we wouldn't be here right now if he had insurance, and insurance would have took care of all
Yeah,
that.
well, it's possible, Mr. Klinghoffer, that you wouldn't be here right now, and I haven't made a decision yet if you weren't driving recklessly, without helmets, with your son, who, according to you, has issues, the 12-year-old driving the motor scooter.
He was not driving.
But I don't believe you.
I don't believe you either.
I don't care whether you believe me. You're not judging me, I'm judging you. So that means that if I don't believe you, that's important. If you don't believe me, that is irrelevant.
Caption coming up.
Were you driving your car uninsured?
I was moving my...
Oh, no. Be very careful what you say to me. You turned the ignition on, started to move. That's driving.
Whitney smirks. A courthouse. The Judy Justice logo appears. In the courtroom, Matthew and Robin.
Matthew Klinghoffer is accusing fellow motorist Robin Major of hitting him and his son while Robin backed out of his driveway.
Okay. Your statement, Mr. Major, based upon this diagram, is that the defendant pulled out and was to sort of beat the traffic and was driving not in a lane, which suggests to me, sir, that you saw him.
I didn't see him.
Well, how do you know that he pulled out?
When I was backing out the car, adjacent there waved me out.
You mean the car
behind?
Go over there. I know what you're talking about, just so that we're clear. The car behind said you.
This car, as I'm coming out my driveway, he's saying, he's waving me out.
He's waving you on
He
to
says
suggest that it's clear.
So I'm coming out, and I didn't see him, Your Honor.
You didn't see him?
No.
Okay. Now go back. Now, Mr. Major, we're going to get to insurance. Were you driving your car uninsured?
I wasn't. I was moving my.
Oh, no. Be very careful what you say to me. You put a key in the ignition. You turned the ignition on. You put the car in reverse.
Yes, ma'am.
Started to move. That's driving.
Yes, ma'am.
And driving far enough into the street so you weren't on your property.
No, my car was still in.
Oh, no,
the front
Mr.
end was
Major.
still in the driveway.
Mr. Major, you said that that's a fair and accurate representation of the accident
That's
scene.
my driveway.
The back of your car is not in the driveway. The back of your car is in a public street. That's
Right,
what you
I
said.
wouldn't know
Yeah,
that.
he was. Listen to me, Mr. Major. I'm an equal opportunity abuser. You have to understand that. So please, I'm sort of ancient, but please don't treat me as if I'm stupid.
No,
People confuse age with stupidity.
No,
that would be a huge mistake on your part.
Yes.
Huge. Unless you're suggesting he came up on your driveway, which this doesn't suggest at all. You were in a public street without insurance.
Yes, ma'am.
Well, that would be an easy. Did the police respond to this accident?
Yes, ma'am.
Is there a police report?
There.
Yes,
May I have it,
thing
please?
they gave me.
Right here.
Matthew hands a document to Kevin, who brings it to Judy.
Scuff and scratch marks were observed on the left side of vehicle 2. That's what the police officer observed. Now, what did you do after this accident, Mr. Klinghoffer?
I called the police.
Got the police. The police came, they took a report, they spoke to you. Now, you were picking your son up from school.
Yes, ma'am.
Where did you go?
I went home.
You went home with your son. Now, when you went home with your son, you were riding in front, is that correct?
We walked home. My vehicle was not rideable. My exhaust pipe was
Just a
bent.
second. How did you get the motor scooter?
I pushed it.
Did you see him push the motor scooter?
I seen him push it down so far, and then he got on it.
Just a second. Would you bring in Mr. Klinghoffer's wife?
Kevin leaves the courtroom. He returns with Matthew's wife.
This way.
Step over next to your husband, please. Were you at home when your husband came home with your son after this accident?
He actually called me.
Just a second. I said, were you at home?
Yes, I was at home.
Who else was home with you?
My brother and my friend.
You say your husband called you and he told you about the accident.
Yes.
And what did you do?
Me and got in the car and we pulled up and I parked in the middle of the street.
Go over to that chart and show me where you pulled up.
Matthew's wife, Brittany, approaches the traffic diagram.
About right here.
Okay, so you pulled up right near where the accident was?
Yes.
And where was your husband?
He was right here with Justin.
Okay, go back.
She joins Matthew at the plaintiff's table.
And then what happened? Police come, police leave. I want you to tell me what happened next.
After the police and fire department and ambulance leave, me and Justin walked to where they told me to park my car. So me and Justin got in the car.
And your husband?
He was walking the scooter back to our house with.
And is that how he arrived at the house, walking with the motor scooter?
Yes.
Very good. Kevin, she can go out now.
This way, please.
Brittany leaves with Kevin.
Now, as soon as Kevin gets back, I'm going to take a look at your estimate.
Matthew hands a document to Kevin.
Thank you, Kevin.
Kevin brings it to Judy, who reviews it.
Okay, so protector muffler, reasonable. Front fender, unreasonable. Just a second. You understand?
Yeah.
Okay. Radiator cover, footrest boards. No. Rear reflector is reasonable. Exhaust pipe. Okay. Now, Mr. Major.
Yes, ma'am.
I'm going to tell you that ordinarily I would award him half the damage because I think that he was 50% responsible for this accident. I think he was driving negligently with his son. I think his son was actually, his 12-year-old son was driving the scooter. I think that that's what happened because his story about him sitting in the rear seat hunching over his son in a 4-foot wheelbase is not something that I can conjure. And if it was true, it was still reckless. So I would actually ascribe half of his damage to him. I'm not, and I'm going to tell you why. Because if there was a lot of traffic, you are at least partially responsible for not being more cautious. You're driving in a big car. There was somebody behind you because you did, in fact, hit them. And you have to be very cautious when you're driving a big car. The reason I'm ascribing all the damage to you, sir, is because you had no insurance. And nobody belongs on the road without insurance. And there has to be a penalty when you're driving without insurance, just like when you're driving without a license. Do you require a license? Just a second. Hey! Where you live, which Sarah can check, do you need a driver's license to ride a scooter on the street?
No, you need an endorsement for a Class B scooter.
A what?
An endorsement for a Class B scooter.
Okay. Do you have that?
Yes, ma'am.
Does your son?
No.
Your son was driving. Your case is dismissed. We're finished here. Thank you very much.
My son was not driving.
Court is adjourned.
Robin.
I had insurance, but I had it on my other vehicle, not on my truck. I didn't feel nothing until he was pounding on the back of my window. I did not see the scooter until after the fact. Wear your helmet when you're on a scooter and have insurance when you're back on your driveway.
Judy and Sarah.
You know what was interesting about that, Sarah, to me? The one thing he said, which came out sort of by accident, was that his son was in front of him. And there's no question that...
I can imagine a world in which you're...
Maxwell for unauthorized bank account charges and property damage.
Court come to order. All rise.
Judge Judy.
Have a seat, please.
Kevin approaches.
Hello, Judge. Case 2191, Maxwell versus Maxwell.
Thank you. Miss Maxwell, this is your sister.
Correct.
Older, younger?
Younger.
The two of you decided to take an apartment together.
Correct.
When was that?
August 27th of 2021.
Were you both on the lease?
No, ma'am, just me.
How long did you live together?
It was about 6 to 7 months.
When did your sister leave? What month?
She left at the end of June of 2022.
June of?
2022.
Miss Maxwell, was it your arrangement that you would split the rent?
No. I would pay a portion of the rent, not split it even.
Well, tell me what a portion was.
The first month I stayed there, which was September only, I didn't pay anything. In October through November, $200, and then after that it was $400.
Well, how much was the rent?
$950, I believe.
And how many of you lived in the apartment?
Just us two.
Well, why weren't you paying half the rent?
I slept on a couch.
Oh, is that correct?
That is correct, Your Honor, except for the agreement. The agreement was that she would keep the apartment clean and pay half the rent and utilities.
Well, why would she pay half the rent if you get the bedroom?
It was her agreement. That was just...
No, I'm just saying, that doesn't sound reasonable to me. If she got the couch and you got the bedroom, why would she pay the utilities and half the rent?
Well, it wasn't... The rent itself was, like, she gave me what she could, but that was just our agreement. I bought the couch big enough so that she would be able to use it.
Nonsense. Okay, this is what the case is about. You claim that she stopped paying any money towards the apartment and you threw her out. And when she left, she damaged some property, and then she charged some money on either your credit card or a debit card.
My debit card.
Did you ever give her your debit card?
There was only one time when I handed her with permission to use the credit card at a gas station.
That's not true.
You had a physical debit card?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay, and the one time that you let her use it, I want you to tell me when that was and what that was for.
It was within the time period of her living in the apartment. We were at a gas station and I was filling up. She went inside the gas station to purchase something because she didn't have money at the time, and that was it. That was the only time that I recall her ever giving her permission to use my card.
Okay. She moved out of the apartment in June of 2022, and I understand it was not an amicable process, and the police were called.
Correct.
Who called the police?
I did.
Why?
My dad gave me advice, and he said that I should call the non-emergency escort so that they can watch her, make sure that she actually leaves when she was asked.
And what day in June was this?
I do not recall the date.
You don't have a police report or a number?
Not for that. They didn't give me a police report for that.
Did they give you a police report for something else?
I have the police report for the fraud.
Oh, I'd like to see that.
Yes, Your Honor.
Because it is your claim that you used the information from your debit card and withdrew a lot of money from your debit card.
Correct.
Jada hands a document to Kevin, who brings it to Judy.
So you reported this to the police on August 25th.
24th.
It says reported
Okay.
8/25. How much money did she take out of the account?
At the time of that, it was only estimated about 10, but once the July statement came out, I was able to add up more, and it was nearly 14, 15 grand.
May I see it, please?
Jada hands a document to Kevin.
How did you get her banking information?
I had to call them.
Shh. How did you get her banking information?
I don't have her bank information.
Well, you took money out of her account. You acknowledge you took money out of her account.
I only took money out when she gave me permission.
No. You acknowledge that you took money out of the account. I've read your answer. How did you get her account information?
She gave me her card on multiple occasions.
You mean after you moved out, she gave you her card?
No.
Shh.
Yes.
Do you understand? You're not going to end up well here. Do you understand that? Because if she called the police, to watch you, to escort you out of the house, there is no question that she did not thereafter give you permission to use her credit card or her debit card. That doesn't make sense.
She did.
Do you understand the chronology of what I'm saying to you?
Yes, Your Honor.
So if I were to believe you, the only time you used her credit card is when you were still there. And that was prior to June of 2022.
That's incorrect.
Caption, coming up.
My grandmother passed away in August 9th of 2021, and she was my legal guardian to the age of 18, so I was under her account as a beneficiary, so when she passed, I got the money.
Velastasia furrows her brow. A courthouse. The Judy Justice logo appears. In the courtroom, Jada and Velastasia.
Jada Maxwell claims her sister, Velastasia Maxwell, wrongfully took money from her bank account and damaged her property.
There is no question that she did not thereafter give you permission to use her credit card or her debit card. That doesn't make sense.
She did.
Do you understand the chronology of what I'm saying to you?
Yes, Your Honor.
So if I were to believe you, the only time you used her credit card is when you were still there. And that was prior to June of 2022.
That's incorrect.
Just a second. So you're telling me that after she called the police to escort you out of the apartment, she still gave you permission to use her card?
Yes, Your Honor. I still went over to her apartment until July 15th.
For what?
I had my stuff there.
Just to gather your things.
And she let me use her car multiple occasions to get some of the furniture that she let me have. And she told me that I can use her card.
When was the last time you visited with your sister? July what?
July 15th.
And when was the last time you used her card?
July 16th.
What did you use her card for, July 16th?
Rent.
Between what periods of time did you use her card? Give me the dates.
Since September of 2021 until July 16th.
September of 21. And what was it for in September?
She would send me to the store, or if I was already at the store in her car, she would tell me to use her card or something like that. She would pay me to
How
get
much
stuff.
did you spend on her card just for you? Just for you, not for joint, not send it to the store, here's my card.
I have it here.
Tell me how much you spent on you.
I'm not sure of the exact amount.
Did the police contact you with regard to the fraud?
No.
They never did?
No.
The police report, do you name your sister as the person who stole your money?
Yes, Your Honor. The bank told me...
No, don't tell me what the bank told you. The bank doesn't tell you anything. Would you show me here, maybe I'm missing it, where you report the person who took the money out of your account?
That is the only document when I went down to the station that they gave me. When I went to actually make the file, she just asked me a couple questions, who I thought it was.
Don't tell me what somebody else asked you.
Yes, Your Honor.
Did you report to the police that it was your sister who fraudulently took your money?
I did, but the police eventually they cut it off because I was going to pursue small claims. They told me that they are no longer needed.
Small claims. Why were you going to pursue small claims? How much money do you? How much money does she have? Miss Maxwell, let's get it together. Let's get it all together. Okay? You were not going to pursue small claims because you knew that in small claims you would end up with zero. You knew that.
At the time, I didn't understand what everything meant, which is why I tried calling a bunch of people, and I spoke to
No, I just want to know why, at this point, because the bank gave you back some money.
Correct.
How much money did the bank give you back?
I have it here. It was about $4,900, nearly $5,000.
Okay, and they gave you back almost $5,000. I'd like to see the communication with the bank. With the bank as to, I mean, if you are alleging fraud,
Right.
if you're alleging fraud and you say that you had all of this money taken out of your account,
Correct.
okay, then there's no reason why the bank, if you were alleging fraud and they found that there was fraud, why wouldn't they return all the money?
Because they have a policy that within the 3 months, they can only go up to the first 3 months, and because I didn't realize sooner, they can only go up to that 3 months. So they were only able to give me back within the transactions within those 3 months.
Is this a savings account or a checking account?
It was beneficiary.
What is that?
When somebody passed and you get money.
Explain that to me. I don't understand what beneficiary account is.
My grandmother passed away in August 9th of 2021. And she was my legal guardian to the age of 18. So I was under her account as a beneficiary. So when she passed, I got the money.
So you were living with your grandmother?
Correct.
Okay. And what was the benefit package?
What do you mean?
How much did you get as a beneficiary?
It was about $50,000.
On what date?
I'm not sure when it was processed, but it was opened. Payment started of October of 2021. Or transactions
I don't
started.
understand what a beneficiary account is. Who paid the money? Who paid this $50,000?
My grandmother. She would put money in there so that if something were to happen to her, the money would go to me or whoever she listed.
Your Honor, it's a type of savings account. In simple words, a beneficiary bank account is a type of savings account in which the funds are transferred to somebody else after the account owner passes away, directly to the beneficiary.
Okay, this had nothing to do with you receiving benefits through your grandmother.
No.
This is an account that your grandmother set up for you.
Correct.
Now, is that grandmother also her grandmother?
Yes, Your Honor.
Did you have a relationship with your grandmother?
Yes, I did.
Did she only set up the one account?
I'm not sure, but I wasn't the only one that received money.
What about you?
Nothing.
Okay, so how much is left in that account now?
The account is closed out.
By whom?
At the bank. After a certain, once it goes under a certain amount, they send you a check with the rest of the money.
How much did they send you a check for?
It was about $200.
Well, who spent the $50,000?
I made transactions throughout the time period as well.
Okay. What did you buy with $50,000?
I just basically used it.
What does that mean?
I wasn't responsible with it. I'll be honest about that.
Did you know that your sister had this $50,000 amount of money?
I didn't know she had that much, no.
Did you know she had any?
Yeah.
Did you know where it came from?
Yes.
Jada shakes her head. Caption, coming up.
You have here July total $3,148.14. What does that number represent?
All transactions that were confirmed to be her added up total.
You can't use her credit card after you're not speaking to your sister.
A courthouse. The Judy Justice logo appears. In the courtroom, Jada and Valastasia.
Jada Maxwell has accused her sister, Valastasia Maxwell, of taking money from her bank account and damaging her property.
Now, what did you buy with $50,000?
I just basically used it.
What does that mean?
I wasn't responsible with it. I'll be honest about that.
Did you know that your sister had this $50,000 amount of money?
I didn't know she had that much, no.
Did you know she had any?
Yeah.
Did you know where it came from?
Yes.
Are you working?
Yes.
What kind of work do you do?
I'm a cashier.
And what about you?
I currently work at Chipotle and I also Uber on the side.
When was the last time you saw your sister?
July 16th. Or, I'm sorry, July 20th.
Are there any charges here after July 16th of 2021.
Yes, Your Honor. I actually gave that up already. In the top, it says July. It's written on there.
Just a second. I'm going to give this back to you.
Yes, Your Honor.
Find any charges that were made after July 16th. It was after July 16th was the last time you saw your sister?
No contact. We didn't have contact.
So the last time that you saw her was in July?
Correct.
Judy reviews a document.
You have here July total $3,148.14. What does that number represent?
That is that's all transactions that were confirmed to be her added up total in just the month of July.
Were there any?
Yes, it goes in. If it goes.
Were there any charges?
There were quite a few.
In August, or was July the last amount of money that she took out?
In August, the card got cut off, so there were no.
Okay, so that the most that she incurred on the card in July was $3,000.
Correct, Your Honor.
And she left on July.
She was kicked out at the end of June.
The end of June?
Correct.
Yes, June of 2022.
Correct.
And that was with a police escort?
Correct.
No.
Okay. Police watching you?
They left, and I was still in the apartment.
But they were there. They were called.
Right.
Okay. Now, what property do you allege that your sister damaged? Because that's the second part of your lawsuit.
It was a couch, and
What?
it was $1,100.
Well,
I have pictures of the aftermath of when she was kicked out and what the state of the apartment was left in, including the couch.
Just show me the couch. If she damaged your couch, let me see it.
Jada hands photos to Kevin, who brings them to Judy. She reviews an image of a couch.
I can't see what the damage is to this couch.
It shows better in other pictures.
No, I don't see damage. I just see a lot of dirt.
Under the cushions, there was mold, and then there's a picture that shows 2 cigarette burns that her friend left.
Could you return this to the plaintiff, please? A lot of dirt. Okay. Anything else?
Thank you.
You can't use her credit card after you're not speaking to your sister. I don't believe
I didn't, Your Honor.
Yes, you did. $3,148.
I did not spend $3,000.
Kevin, these are July's statements.
Judy hands documents to Kevin, who brings them to Valistasia. She reviews them.
Here. I think one of those things is yours. The bottom document. Okay, anything else? Judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $3,148. We're done here. Thank you very much.
This court is adjourned.
Outside the courtroom, Jada, then Valistasia.
There was a lot more to show, but I'm glad I got something back. She took a lot from me.
I don't see how you can decide I made a transaction with my name written in pen.
And caused a lot of downfall after the fact.
She's just mad, I guess. I'm not sure.
I almost ended up homeless. I almost lost my job because of this.
I didn't cause any damage, no.
It was very hard. I didn't even want to press charges because she's my sister.
Nothing. They pulled up. They said that I had to leave. And I said, no, I already paid my portion. And they said, okay. And they left.
No, she was kicked out prior to that.
My friend did do that. I can say that. But, like,
she's just lying.
I didn't damage anything.
At this point, I don't believe her. I don't trust her. She took advantage of me.
Hopefully we can just dead it, but I don't know.
So I'm just glad that I was able to get something back so I can continue to get back up on my feet.
One day at a time.
I'm hoping for an apology, some remorse.
Who knows?
After I confronted her and she admitted to it, she ignored and cut everybody out. She didn't even say she was sorry. She didn't speak to me.
I don't know.
Sarah and Judy.
You know, it's a little bit easier now to commit fraud using someone's credit card, even if you only had access to the physical card for 5 seconds. It's long enough to take a picture of the back and input all the information into the DoorDashes, the Ubers, all the accounts. And if you don't check carefully, you may not notice for a couple months. So, I mean, I've been a victim of fraud in that way, and I know it can be very stressful trying to deal with the credit card company, and especially when it's your sister. I mean, my sister better think twice before using my credit card.
Do you know, generationally, I have a problem. It's actually my problem because I'm used to writing out a check. I have a checkbook. I write out the check. I deduct the check from my balance. I know what is...
How they taught you in 4th grade to balance a
absolutely.
checkbook.
You want to make a deposit in a savings account. We were taught you brought $2, you put it in a bank account. In the bank book every Friday, your teacher stamped it, $2. That's how you saved money. And the fact that you can walk into a store and take your phone and go like that and charge.
And who knows
is
whose information
all
is on there.
Frightening to me. It all sounds as if it's going to collapse around me. But everybody, I think everybody who's under 50 uses that, probably more than 50, because my children are actually 50. It's hard to come to terms with that. But they all use their...
Online banking.
Banking?
Yeah.
I still don't have my banking online.
I know.
I still do.
Exotic pet store owner Brian Chow for money from a snake breeding business.
Court come to order. All rise.
Have a seat, everyone.
Kevin.
Hello, Judge. Case number 212, Duenas versus Cho.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Ms. Duenas, it looks to me from your papers that you decided to go into a business with someone.
Yes.
With whom?
With the defendant, Brian Chow.
And you know him how?
He's a family friend.
And you know what his business is?
Yes.
What is his business?
He currently sells reticulated pythons, snakes, exotic animals, monitors, lizards.
And you like those things?
My ex-boyfriend did.
Did you?
I was more for the investment part.
Okay.
I was the investor at the time.
At the time you reached out to this family friend who was in the exotic snake business, your idea was to create a business.
No, Your Honor. It was actually the defendant's idea.
I don't care whose idea it was. Your idea was to create a business with your ex-boyfriend.
I agreed to the business, but it wasn't our idea.
Whether you agreed to the business or not, you invested money in the business.
Yes.
Which means that unless there's something wrong with you, and I see that there is not, you wanted to go into business with the defendant.
Yes.
So let's be easy.
Okay.
And at the time that you wanted to go into business with the defendant, I'll get to what the nature of that business was in a second. I know it had something to do with that wonderful-looking snake. You had a boyfriend.
Yes.
And the boyfriend liked snakes.
Yes.
And you went along with the ride.
Yes.
What month and year were you still with the boyfriend when you decided to go into the business, which you will explain to me?
Back in November of 2019.
So right before COVID.
Yes.
What was your boyfriend doing at the time?
He was working at an airport.
And he and Mr. Cho were friends?
Yes.
How long had you known him?
2-3 weeks, Your Honor.
Where did you meet him?
He came into my store and acquired
I didn't ask you anything. That's how you met him?
Yes.
I'm going to get through this case and get this lovely thing out of the courtroom as quickly as I possibly can. Wow. Some people find them exotic and gorgeous. I find them a little bit squirmy. So in November 2019, boyfriend and you decided to go into the business. Explain the business that you invested in.
I invested on 5 reticulated pythons, 1 male and 4 females. That was the original deal.
And what were you going to do with them?
Mr. Brian Chow was going to have it in his shop, and together we were going to breed them and make a profit out of them.
So the intention was never for you to take these pythons to your residence?
No.
And you understood that? No.
They're buying the snake, Your Honor.
Okay. How much were the 5 snakes?
In total, it was $10,000, plus the feeding and the cages that he claimed that the snakes needed.
Was it your agreement that for $10,000, Ms. Duenas and the boyfriend were going to buy 1 male snake and 4 females?
They decided to buy 2 snakes.
Well, when was that decision made, sir?
A week after I met him, because
When you went into the shop, did you ultimately decide on 1 male, 1 female?
No, so how it is, Your Honor, is he knew my ex-boyfriend prior to the business 5 years ago. He sold him a exotic Australian monitor lizard.
Okay, what I want you to tell me is, did there come a time when the arrangement changed, so instead of 1 male and 4 females, you were supposed to get 1 male and 1 female?
No, Your Honor. The whole way, it was supposed to be 1 male and 4 females.
Do you have any sort of a receipt for that?
We have Instagram conversations.
Do you have that?
Yes, ma'am.
I'd like to see it.
Cassandra hands a laptop to Kevin, who brings it to Judy. She reviews a message thread on the computer.
One male, 4 females. The guy's asking $15,000 for all, and then he says, I'll drop it to 12. Then somebody, I don't have 12 now. I just spent a lot on my monitor. Let's go the rest. Okay, so you say, I don't have that money now. He says, I'm getting 16 lace monitors. You remember that discussion? And then that's a big investment for me right now. I'm saving up to get a house, but I'm down to breed my monitor with any of your monitors. Keep going. So far, I don't have a contract. And then somebody says, no, you pay half and I pay half. Who wrote that?
He did.
No, you pay half and I pay half. Then you say 6,000. I'm short 6,000. I want to get them, but I'm low on cash till next month. And that's from you. That's from the reptile.
I had to say it, Your Honor.
Okay. If I invest half with you, what will be my return and in how long? Think about it. That's will be the baby's mix price. JTK Reptiles, that's you. Somebody's on their way. That's you and your boyfriend?
Yes. We were on our way to give him the money.
And how much money were you going to give him?
We gave him the first time $6,000 and then $4,000, a total of $10,000.
You received that?
Yes, Your Honor.
And what did you purchase with the $10,000?
If you look at the message from there, what she showed you is they pay half of the 5 snake. It means they get 2 of the snake, and I get 2 of the snake. They've been lying to you guys since day one. They want to purchase 2 snake. Then I told them, like, if you look at the message, I can use my male to breed it to your female. It's an investment for you guys, not for us. It's no us. It's not with them at all.
Mr. Cho, were they supposed to take possession of the snakes?
They're supposed to pick up the snake. That's why they come to the store with it.
Which snakes were they supposed to take possession of?
One right here and one out there.
Is that a male or a female?
This is the female.
Has she had babies yet?
No, I don't breed her because she don't belong to me.
And how old is she?
Right now, she should be about 6 years old, going 7.
How long do they live?
Over 30 to 40 years, depends on how you take care of them, like I take care of them.
And there's another one outside the courtroom that's the same as this one. Yes. Also a female?
Yes.
And you gave them the $10,000. He acknowledges the $10,000. So we have a verbal contract that you were going to pay for some snakes. He was going to order the snakes for you, which he did. And that was accomplished, and the payment for the snakes was done on what date, the first payment?
Approximately in November of 2019.
And when was the next $4,000 payment?
The same month, I would say like a week.
Good. And when did you order the snakes, Mr. Chow?
Right after I get yeah, because I cannot just acquire the animal without the payment.
Okay, so now you've got the payment and you order the animals.
Yes.
On what date do they arrive?
2 days after, they're FedEx delivered to my shop.
And when did you notify the plaintiff that they were there?
The day that they came. I tell them the snake is
So it was also in November, sometime in November. And when did they arrive?
The snake arrived?
No. Oh. The plaintiff and the boyfriend.
They arrived a week after I notify the boyfriend.
Okay. Now, Ms. Duenas, a week later you went to the shop. And what happened when you went to the shop? Now he's got $10,000 and he's got 2 snakes.
I just want to clarify, Your Honor, that we even gave him money for the tanks because here in the conversations it says that he can't continue having them in tubs. So he needs us to give him money to invest to buy the tanks to house the snakes. So our original plan was for him to keep the snakes because he has the shop. We, at the time, lived in an apartment. He was well aware of this, that we couldn't have big snakes in our apartment.
He says no, you say yes. I'm not sure how I can resolve that. I'm trying to simplify this contract.
Cassandra nods. Caption coming up.
And you said you recorded all this?
Yes.
I'd like to see it.
Video footage.
What are you doing?
What do you mean? He owes me money.
I don't care. Get out, get out, get out, get out, get out.
Judy's eyes widen. Cassandra's eyes fill with tears. A courthouse. The Judy Justice logo appears. In the courtroom, Cassandra and Brian.
Cassandra Duenas claims exotic pet store owner Brian Chow owes her money for a snake breeding business. Brian says Cassandra changed her mind about the business after he purchased the snakes.
Okay, part of the contract was fulfilled because you paid him. Then he ordered the snakes. Second part was fulfilled. I want you to tell me what happened when you went to see the snakes. You say to see them. He says to pick them up a week later.
So when we went to the shop,
Who
what
went?
led us to
Who went?
My ex-boyfriend and I. What led us to there is because after he obtained the snakes, he was not reaching out back to us. He was
Just a week later.
Yes.
You went to the shop. He notified you that the snakes were there. There's no question about that. Now, you went to the shop for what purpose?
Because he switched it and then he said it was 2 snakes when originally the plan was 1 male and 4 females. That 1 male was going to breed with the 4. So right out the back, he lied to us what our agreement was here, that he clearly texted us and said 4 males and 1 female. So it was 5 snakes. So we went to the shop.
But there was a problem there with pricing. In the Instagram messages, a suggestion, because some of the texts were unavailable. He said originally they were $15,000. And then there was some discussion of $12,000. And then there was some discussion of $6,000. He says he'll pay half and you pay half. And there, I can imagine that there was some sort of an agreement for you to keep the snakes if you were going to pay half. You were always supposed to give them the snakes. Why would you pay half?
Then they get the 2 of the snake, and I get the 2 of the other snake. It's 5 of them. And the one that we're gonna pretty much, they can have it if they want it, or I can use it when I need it.
You mean the male?
Yes.
So that was the business. Anyway, you went there, and what happened?
So I went in recording. My ex-boyfriend told me, hey, record.
Don't tell me what your ex-boyfriend told you.
Okay.
Just tell me you went in and what happened.
We went in there and we asked him, hey, we agreed on 5 snakes. Now you switched up and you said now it's 2 snakes. First you told us it was $15,000, then $12,000. You were playing games with us the whole time. And at this point, after a week later that he said that he got the snakes, then he told us it was 2 snakes. At that point, we were upset because we had planned and we had counted with 5 snakes. That's why we gave him that ridiculous amount of money. And basically, we didn't want nothing else to do with him. We wanted our money back. And that's what we went for, our money back.
Just a second. Yes. So you walked in wanting your money back?
Yes.
Do you have any text messages, Instagram messages, suggesting that before you got there, you had said to him, we changed our mind, we don't want to be in business with you, we want our money back?
No.
Nothing?
No. He wasn't reaching out, sorry, Your Honor, he wasn't reaching out to us. He was sending him video calls, he was calling him through text message, my ex-boyfriend.
I don't care. You paid the money, he got snakes. The question is, you think there's supposed to be more than 2? He says 2. More were more money. So the ultimate agreement was for 2. So what happened when you went there? You're there with your boyfriend.
Yes.
And you say, I want my money back. And he says?
He says, I don't have the money here. I have 2 snakes here.
Are you telling me that he didn't call you and say your snakes are in? Is that what you're suggesting? Do you have an invoice for these snakes, Mr. Chow?
Yes, Your Honor.
I'd like to see the invoice for the snakes.
Brian hands a document to Kevin, who brings it to Judy.
By the way, your boyfriend has other of these exotic creatures. Is that right?
To the people that I get them.
What kind of exotic creatures does he have?
One that he sold him, an Australian water monitor from the Philippines.
And?
He has 2 rhino iguanas, a pair. He has a, I don't know the name, but it changes colors.
Judy reviews the document.
Mr. Chow?
Yes.
This is a wire transfer, May 24th, 2018. And the date of this wire transfer is August of 2018.
And those are for the lace monitor that
Are these lace monitors?
Yes.
Sorry, Your Honor, these are not lace monitors. These are reticulated pythons. These are not monitors. Monitors are lizards. These are snakes.
Lace monitor bell face.
Yes, Your Honor.
Well, that's not that.
No, Your Honor.
Well, these are useless.
Yes, but that's connected to the rest of what they did.
What does it have to do with these 2 snakes? What I want to see is when you purchased these 2 snakes.
Yeah, I don't have it, Your Honor.
Well, get it. What do you mean you don't have it?
I left it at home. I'm so sorry.
Well, what'd you bring these for?
Those are the time that they both got arrested when they went to my shop.
Yeah, but you now have those back, right?
Yes.
You have those back. So if you had to take documents, why didn't you take the documents for the snakes in question? The lace monitor lizards aren't in question. You have them back. They may have taken them. They were arrested, and you finally got them back. So I don't understand that.
I just mistaken grabbed the wrong paper.
Well, Mr. Chow, do you deal with these people regularly, that you buy snakes from them regularly?
Not really. It depends on the size of the animal and depends what kind of animal.
Well, you have the date of purchase someplace, Mr. Chow, and I don't want you to waste my time.
Yeah, I'm so sorry. That's why I just said I don't have it, Your Honor.
Did they purchase that kind of snake?
Yes, Your Honor.
Is that correct?
It was 5 snakes, Your Honor.
Don't give me 5. That type of snake.
Oh, yes, the reticulated python, yes.
And the one that's outside is the same, correct?
Yes.
And you did not purchase baby snakes.
No.
You wanted full-grown snakes because they were a business. You wanted them able to be breeding. Okay. Should have brought the paperwork. And you went in there that day in November because you had changed your mind.
Yes, and on top, yes.
Because you had changed your mind.
Yes.
That's the answer. You had changed your mind. You can give me a whole bunch of excuses, and you told him you changed your mind, you want your money back. And he said no, because I ordered the snakes, and I got them in, and they're yours. Contract is completed. I'm merely holding your property. And then there was a kerfuffle. And tell me about the kerfuffle.
The issue was that it was going back to what I was saying is, then we asked him as well, can we have like receipt? How much did you really pay for them?
No, that's not your business. That's not your business, how much you really paid for them. He made a deal, you paid him. If he got them for $2,000 and you paid him $10,000, that's nothing. The kerfuffle, let's draw this down to its most simple English. You wanted your money back, and you wanted to cancel this contract.
Yes, it's just when we arrived, those weren't the snakes that we ordered. These were the breed of it, is the ones that he was putting here on Instagram, which I have, which is not those. So we ordered something and we got something else. So
is what you're telling me, you went there to pick up your, because now it's changed. You went there to pick up your snakes. When you got there, they turned out to be a different...
It's breed. It's like the...
Pythons, right?
Yes.
They're pythons, but it was a different kind of python. Now you're telling me because it was a different python, you wanted your money back.
Yes, because it wasn't what we paid for. It's like we paid for a Ferrari and we got a Toyota, basically. It's basically
You know nothing about pythons, so you're taking your cues from your boyfriend because that's his strong suit. Is it yours as well?
No, I'm just the investor.
Right. So your boyfriend had a conversation with him and said, those aren't the snakes that I ordered.
Yes.
Okay. And I want my money back.
Yes.
And you said you recorded all this.
Yes.
I'd like to see it.
Brian shakes his head. Caption coming up.
And when he broke the glass, where did he take them?
He put it in a bin.
And is that you carrying them out?
Yes, and that's the reason why I was charged with the robbery, just because I walked out with the item.
That's fine. That's a co-conspirator.
Cassandra's eyes fill with tears. A courthouse. The Judy Justice logo appears. In the courtroom, Cassandra and Brian.
Cassandra Duenas is accusing exotic pet store owner Brian Chow of wrongfully keeping money for a snake breeding business. Brian says he fulfilled their agreement and claims Cassandra stole property from his store.
And you said you recorded all this?
Yes.
I'd like to see it.
Okay. You just press play.
Which one?
Oh, right here. And then you press that.
This one?
Yes.
Kevin brings a laptop to Judy.
Okay.
Ready?
Subtitles. So you guys want to do the money then?
Yeah. The $10,180 in total, and then money on top of that for lending me the money and everything.
I didn't see that coming. Yeah, because we didn't see this coming. You just kept on giving us a runaround and a runaround.
Oh, no, what?
About the mail. Remember that?
No, that's why I'm waiting for the mail to be delivered. I don't have the mail.
Yeah, but Remember you had told us that the guy had it because he had to leave and he had to gut out because he has surgery and all that stuff.
Yeah.
We gave you the money right there and then. You don't understand what mission we had to go
I
through.
didn't know. I don't mind getting you guys your money back, but I don't have cash right now. You guys caught me by surprise.
Yeah, but we're gonna have to do it today though. Like we need our money today.
If you want it right now, I don't have it.
We told you we want to do business correct, and you just keep on giving us another day and another day.
You told us as soon as we give you the money, the snake was gonna be here.
Yeah, it's not about me. It's the guy. It's not me. I'm just buying the snake from a different guy.
And then another thing where you messed up, you said 5 snakes for 6,000, and you come at me with 4, and you wasted my money.
Yeah, and I told you that he gave me only 4 snakes, the big giant.
Yeah, and why would you waste money if I told you to get the 5 snakes?
If you worry about the last one, I can pay for it. It's a meal that we don't need.
But I have to do all this, so I have to get like this for you to do that?
No, bro.
How can I trust you now?
Bro, the 4 snake is right here.
I'm gonna go get something.
What's wrong with you, bro? I'm just asking you. Let's talk.
No, we're not gonna talk. I told you don't with me.
I don't talk with you, bro.
Dog.
Why? What's
that's
wrong?
Because we gave you a lot of money. We're talking about over $10,000, and you're just giving us the runaround. First, you told us 5 snakes.
This is what we can do. I'll take it. And when you get the money, I'll give it back. Yeah, female too.
Oh, no.
Oh, no? All right, well.
Come on, bro. You're looking at a 15 grand.
I told you, don't play with me.
I don't play with
You don't even have the money right now.
Open them up, man.
I got the half of the money.
Open them up.
I'm trying to talk to you, bro.
No, there's no more talking because we gave you the money right here and then. That's unprofessional. You're trying to scam us, and you don't do that to people like that.
I didn't. How did I scam you?
Before I open it.
You're telling me that you don't have the money.
I have half of the money because I'm waiting for the snake. Bro, if you guys gonna get arrested.
There's no arrested. We're just getting what you took from us. Over $10,000.
I'm trying to talk to you.
$10,000.
You're gonna open it.
I'm trying to
No, we try to talk to you. You're telling us you're gonna have the money. I have everything in video.
I don't care. You can record me, bro.
All right, so are you gonna
You
open
don't
it?
play with people's money. You can call
You owe
whoever
me
you
over
want.
$15,000.
This is 15 grand.
We don't care.
Can you call a cop, please?
No. All right, watch out. Back away.
Cassandra's ex-boyfriend smashes a glass cage.
I told you, don't play with my money.
What are you doing?
What do you mean? He owes me money.
I don't care.
Get out. 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 Get out.
Subtitles. He owes us money.
He owes us money. He owes us money.
Subtitles. They're going to deal with that with the police.
Now I'll play that video, please.
Video footage of Cassandra's ex-boyfriend reaching into a glass cage.
That's your boyfriend breaking into the...
Yes.
Yes. And when he broke the glass and took out whatever lizards he took out with him, where did he take them? You were still with him.
Yes, he put it in a bin.
And is that you carrying them out?
Yes, and that's the reason why I was charged with the robbery, just because I walked out with the item.
That's all right. That's fine. That's a co-conspirator. Ultimately, the lizards that you took were returned to you.
Yes, Your Honor.
And it seems, Mr. Chow, at the beginning of this case, I must acknowledge to you that I was sympathetic to your position, that they had ordered snakes. You ordered them, you got them,
Yes, Your Honor.
and then the contract is completed. Uncross your arms.
Yeah, I'm so sorry.
But it's clear from the tape that the plaintiff played for me that you acknowledged that you did not fulfill your end of the contract, that you were blaming your inability to fulfill your end of the contract on some third party. Is that what I heard in the tape? I mean, you know, my hearing's not really acute, but that's what you said. I have no control. I can give you back half your money, but I can't give you back all your money. So the contract was not complete.
It was complete because they supposed to get only 2 snakes.
I didn't see anywhere where it says just 2 snakes. There was a whole bunch of conversation there about the male snake, and you were supposed to deliver to them the male snake. And you said, I don't have that money now, but I can get that money for you. I can give you the first money. I don't have the second money. It was clear that the contract was not complete unless you have something to show me that it was. But what I heard, it was not. That doesn't mean that Ms. Duenas has the right to break your property and to steal property that belongs to you. What they do is they come into a court and say, you have my money. The contract was not fulfilled. I want my money back. That's what you do. Are you in the business of breeding snakes for your store?
Yes, Your Honor.
And if we were to go on the internet now,
Yes, Your Honor.
how much would one of those snakes, which is 6 or 7 years old, according to you, sell for?
Right now, this size, you're looking at it about 6,000 to 7,000 each one.
But if you troll the internet of people who actually like those creatures in their house, for whatever reason, if you put up that snake on the internet for sale, how fast would it take you to sell it?
I'd say like about a month and a half.
They're rare.
Yes.
Is that right? That's what you're saying.
It's rare and is just not a lot of people will acquire that much money.
Even though they can sell the babies. And how many babies do they have?
In a year, they can do from 30 to 50.
And each one of the 30 to 50, you can sell for $3,500.
Yeah.
I suggest you do that. She gets her $10,000 back. Judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $10,000. We're finished. Thank you very much.
This court is adjourned.
Outside the courtroom, Cassandra, then Brian.
I'm very happy, and I'm happy that she was able to see herself that the defendant got caught in multiple lies.
They're just a customer.
He wasn't truthful since the beginning. Ever since we invested.
They bought a snake. I just want to give their snake, but they don't want to take it.
And it's very sad how nowadays you can't trust in anybody.
Sarah and Judy.
I think one great lesson that a lot of people can take away from that is you have to know the business that you're investing in. I can appreciate she was sort of doing it for her boyfriend and he had the knowledge about the exotic animals, but that's her money at the end of the day. And if you're going to put your own hard-earned money on the line, it should be a business that you at least put in the time to learn about.
To understand.
Exactly, so that you don't have to rely on somebody else to make the right decisions.
Who's going to be gone tomorrow?
Exactly, exactly.
And your money
who potentially could, and then you're left on your own, having to sue and navigate a field that you really know nothing about.
Smart. And it was also an example of a contract that was not fully executed. I actually thought when I started the case that there was an offer, an acceptance.
Arrest and bail money.
Court come to order. All rise.
Have a seat, please.
Hello, Judge. Case number 2027, Davis versus Zadie.
Thank you. Mr. Davis, a couple of years ago, you were a tenant of the defendant's.
Correct, Your Honor.
You rented a room from him?
Correct, Your
In
Honor.
his house. For how long?
For about a year, a little over.
From when to when?
2020, I want to say the beginning of the year till about the end.
Do you remember the dates that he was a tenant?
Yes, they're incorrect what he's saying. It was from May of 2020 to November 2020.
Does that sound right, Mr. Davis?
It's something like that, yeah.
May, June, July, August, September, October, and when in November did he leave?
I believe it was by the 10th.
This is what your case is about. Briefly, it is your claim that you and Mr. Zadie had some sort of an argument.
Correct.
Which you'll tell me about. And Mr. Zadie called the police. You were taken from the premises. You were arrested, spent the night in jail, mailed yourself out. And this happened in 2020.
Correct.
In November of 2020. Your lawsuit is for false arrest and actual damages. You had to post bail and for filing a false police report. The reason that you have delayed for 2 years in bringing this case against him is because you say you had another action pending.
Correct, Your Honor.
What was the nature of the other action that you had pending?
It was a speeding issue with the police.
Well, it's not a speeding issue with the police. Were you stopped for speeding?
It
Were
was
you
28
arrested for speeding?
Yes, I was, Your Honor.
You were arrested for speeding?
Yeah, and they called it a 2800 VC, if my memory serves me correct.
Well, I don't know what that is.
It's, I guess, evading.
Look into it.
In what city and state do you live?
Irvine, California.
Let me understand this. Very few people are arrested for speeding. You remember what you were arrested for, sir? You weren't arrested for speeding.
They called it evading an officer because I didn't pull over right away.
So you were evading an officer. Let's try that, Sarah.
Evading a police officer in a vehicle. It's vehicle code 2800-1.
Yeah, there it is.
Okay, what does it say?
Prohibits evading an officer in a vehicle, which means willfully fleeing from a police officer when the officer is pursuing the person in a car or on a bike. The offense is a misdemeanor punishable by up to 1 year in jail.
Okay, so you had a misdemeanor pending, right? Anything else?
No, that was it.
Anything else historically?
Yes, I did have historical priors and cases and stuff from my past. Yes, I did.
Recent past or distant past?
Distant past.
How distant?
Years. I want to say 2004.
Okay.
Yeah.
Don't have to go into 2004. So you had this case pending, and you felt that it was inappropriate to bring a civil case against him.
Yeah, because I didn't want the cases to intertwine, Your Honor.
They weren't going to intertwine. The case that he brought against you was eventually dismissed.
Correct.
In what month and year was it dismissed?
It was dismissed the same month, about 2 weeks after that.
Is that right?
I believe so.
Okay. So let me understand this. He alleged that you assaulted him or threatened him. You were taken into custody. The DA examined the case and decided not to prosecute it.
Correct.
And that was 2 years ago.
Correct.
Well, I don't know who gave you advice, sir, or whether you did this on your own, but bringing a civil case against someone for something has no impact whatsoever on a pending criminal case, be it a felony or a misdemeanor. You know, if you were driving in a car and someone hit you in the rear in November of 2020, and you waited 2 years to bring that because you had this evading a police officer action and you thought that that was a valid reason, your case would be dismissed for the hit in the rear and whatever injuries you had, because you're supposed to bring these things in a timely fashion.
I understand.
2 years is not a timely fashion. Now that I've suggested that to you, I would like to hear what you say transpired in November 2020, to the best of your recollection.
On November the 9th, 2020, me and my former landlord, Alex Adidi over here, we had an argument about a guest that I had over.
Okay. You had an argument over the phone or in person?
Over the phone.
Tell me how that phone call was initiated.
He texted me some things, and I called him because I wanted to...
Okay. He texted you. Do you have a copy of that text?
No, I don't have the text.
Do you recall what that text said?
Yes, I do.
Tell me what it said.
I told him that he has to get his girlfriend out of the house because she's been coming in every day and night, staying there.
Okay, so you said, in effect, I rented you this room, not your girlfriend.
Correct.
You got to get her out of the house.
Yes.
Okay.
I had
you remember her name?
To him
just a second. You remember her name?
Not.
What was her name?
Tawana.
Now, when you rented the room in May, just a second. When you rented the room in May and you moved in, did Tawana move in with you?
She did not move in with me.
So when you rented the room for yourself in May, you rented the room as a single person?
Correct, Your Honor.
Okay. And when did you bring Tawana into the room?
It would be once in a while.
No. What month, sir?
I don't recall the exact month.
What month, sir?
It started happening like back in August, every day. It started one day, then every other day, and then it became constant day and night.
For how long?
For a long, long time, till towards the November when it just went out of proportion.
The argument was about having his girlfriend, according to you, practically living there.
Right.
And you didn't want her there?
No.
Okay, because you rented a room to a single man who, until the girlfriend started to come in, I assume you didn't have trouble with.
Right.
So that's what your text message said to him in November. And as a result of that text message, you called him on the phone. I'm just trying to lay out the story.
Okay.
So you called him on the phone, and you said what to him, and he said what to you?
I don't recall exactly what I said to him, but I remember he told me to tell her, get the out, get out my house, get out right now. Your girlfriend is a... He was saying a bunch of derogatory things over the phone to me, and then hung up in my face. I'm working at the time, so when I came back...
Did you call your girlfriend?
No, I didn't call her.
Did you text her?
We speak regularly. We're talking all the time.
No, then.
Yeah, she knew about it. She did.
Don't tell me what she knew. I just asked you if you texted her or called her.
Yeah, I did.
You did. And when you texted or called her, was she in the house? Was she in your room?
No, she was gone already at this time. When we were arguing,
just
she was...
Just a second. Is that because he told her to leave?
No, she was leaving already. She had work to go to. She wasn't living there. She had her own place and job in Lakewood, California. And I would tell him that all the time, but he would always insinuate that, oh, no, she's living there. I'm like, no, she's not. She pays $2,000 in rent.
He lives in the house with you.
Right.
Now, before Tawana, had you had any difficulty with him? You
None
moved
at
in
all.
May. May, did you have any difficulty? No.
No.
June, did you have any difficulty?
No.
July, did you have any difficulty?
No.
No. You didn't have difficulty until Tawana came. Well, that was the difficulty. So he told you in a very rude way, if I accept that, to get Tawana out of his house.
Correct, Your Honor.
Then you came home from work. What time did you get home from work?
About 9-ish.
And Tawana was gone.
Yes, she was gone.
Had she taken her things?
There was nothing for her to take. She didn't bring stuff over there. She wasn't living there.
No, but she came over there and stayed a few days a week and never had
Maybe
any
an
stuff.
overnight bag.
Okay,
That's
but
it.
she took it with her when she left.
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you got home about 9 o'clock, and what happened?
I got home at 9 and I said, don't disrespect me and my woman. You know, this is the woman I love.
When you got home, you walked in the front door. Where was he?
He was in the kitchen and he had a female guest there too. That was
He's
there
allowed
for
to have a
weeks.
female guest. It's his house.
Yeah, right. The pot calling the kettle black, basically.
No,
Hypocrisy.
Mr. Davis. Mr. Davis, if you rent a room to a single guy, did you have a lease agreement with him?
Yeah, I did have a lease agreement.
Did you have a written lease?
Yes, I did.
Did your written lease provide that you were going to live there?
Yes, it did.
Just you?
Yes.
Well, you bring in another person, that's in violation of the lease.
That's not in violation of the lease because there was nothing in the lease that said I couldn't have guests. He actually said I could have guests.
Guest is one thing. A guest is somebody that doesn't come with an overnight bag regularly.
No, he said
one
I could
day,
have an overnight
2
bag.
days, 3 days, 4 days. That's more than an occasional guest. That's somebody that comes and goes even when you're not there. Because according to you, you contacted Tawana while you were at work and she was at the house.
That's false.
Well, I thought you contacted her and then you said she left. She took a few things with her, probably just an overnight bag.
No, she was not going there when I wasn't there. That's false.
Are you saying that she was not in your room when you were not home?
When I was not there, no,
Yeah.
she would not be there.
That true?
No, he had made a key to her. She would come as she pleased.
Did you make her a
That's
key?
false. That's absolutely false.
Did you make her a key?
No, that's
is my
absolutely
question.
false. No, I
Do you
didn't make her
still
a key.
speak to Tawana?
No, I don't. We kind of fell out of touch.
If I were to call Tawana and ask her whether or not you made a key, would she tell me she did or she didn't?
She would say that I didn't.
Didn't.
Yeah.
Phone number.
I
have it in my spirit.
I don't have her number saved here.
I'm not exactly buying the fact that Tawana did not have access to the home even when you weren't there. Even if it was just a half hour before you came home from work, sir. You work until 9 o'clock every night?
Your Honor, I had this to say about the whole key situation. I gave her my key when I was locked up in jail from his false police report. I gave her my property, and she had my key then to help me get the stuff out of his home. But I never went and made her a copy of a key
Did she
anywhere.
ever use your key other than when you were incarcerated?
No.
He says she did.
I said, you're a bitch. I called him a bitch. I did.
He's a guy. Why would you call him a...
It's gender neutral at this point.
You think that that's gender neutral?
Yeah, at this point.
Well, there you go. That's why I have you here.
A courthouse. The Judy Justice logo appears. In the courtroom, Ryan and Alex.
Ryan Davis claims his former landlord, Alex Zadie, owes for bail money after Alex had him falsely arrested.
Okay, so now you're having this discussion. He's in the kitchen. You come home from work at 9 o'clock, and
Yeah.
you went into the kitchen to look for him.
Correct.
And when you found him, tell me what happened.
We had just a brief, maybe 2-minute conversation or argument, discourse about what the things that he said. And I said, you know, don't be disrespectful to my woman and me. And I said, you know, you're a bitch. I called him a bitch. I did. But I never threatened him,
No, you
harassed
said
him.
you're what?
That's it.
What does that mean? That's a half a sentence.
Well,
He was calling him a bitch. You are a bitch.
Oh, you were calling him?
yes, because he says
a
these
guy.
things over the phone.
He's a guy. Why would
Yeah.
you call him a...
Because he says all these things over the phone and he gets real loud and he's a completely different person when he's on the phone than when I'm in
You
his...
think that's gender neutral?
Yeah, at this point.
Well, there you go. That's why I have you here. Okie dokie.
So,
Okay, so you were going, don't call me that. You called him a name, and then things got heated, and then what happened?
no, things didn't get heated. After that, he said, oh, that's how you want to do it? And then I said, if you want to get me evicted, you have to go through it the right way and do it legally and give me a 30-day eviction.
No, he must have said to you, I want you out of here because you called me a name.
It
If
wasn't
you said, if
about-
you want me evicted, then he had to have said something about getting you out.
He didn't really see, I don't remember him mentioning anything about me getting out. I just remember the fact that he called the police to get
No,
me
before
out.
he called the police. You were still in the kitchen. Do you ever leave the kitchen?
Yes, I did.
Where did you go?
I went to my room.
Okay. Before you went to your room, Did you hear him on the phone with the police?
I did.
Before you went
Yes.
to your room?
Yes.
Okay. And
I didn't sit there and listen to his phone call. I took a video and I started recording because I didn't want to be made out to look like the guilty party. And I had it pretty much live streaming the whole time, which was an Instagram video.
Can I see it?
No, I don't have the video. The police
then it
deleted
doesn't exist. If you don't have it, it doesn't.
Yeah,
Just for my purpose.
Understood.
But you had it then.
Yeah, I did have it then.
You did. And the police came?
Yes.
And I assume if the police came, you showed them the video.
Yeah, I was showing it to them.
And despite showing them the video, they took you into custody.
Despite showing them the video, they
Just
took
a
me into
second.
custody.
Despite looking at the video,
Yes.
which I haven't seen.
They didn't look at the video. They refused to look at it.
Well, let's go one step further. You see, Mr. Davis, this is why you bring actions right away. So that not only everybody's memory is fresh, but if I wanted to call a police officer who responded or whatever, that's why you bring an action right away.
Yeah, I get what you're saying.
So now you're taken into custody and you have a video that is totally, according to you, exculpatory.
I don't know the definition.
Exculpatory means it says that you were not guilty of anything.
Okay.
And you appear in court?
No, I didn't appear in court.
Never?
No, never.
Well, what happened to the case?
The case was thrown out. It was a DA reject because there was insufficient evidence that I did anything to him.
And you never showed the district attorney your video?
I didn't get a chance to because the video was deleted by the police.
The police department deleted your video?
Yeah, they did.
You are a terrible victim of circumstance, Mr. Davis. Did you ever make a complaint that the police department deleted your video that would be exculpatory?
No.
Why not? I would if I had.
Maybe ignorance of the law, I guess.
What?
I said maybe ignorance of the law, I guess. Not knowing. When you know better, you do better.
No, Mr. Davis. Actually, I mean, sometimes you really don't know what the law is, but you were smart enough, you said, to tell me, because you knew I would say, why wait 2 years, that you didn't want this action to conflict with another action. Well, that's a two-process thinker.
I've had something like that happen to me before where I had a criminal case and a civil case pending, and the dates were kind of intertwining and messing, and they're about to get in the way of my civil case. So I didn't want to make that same mistake with this case, Your Honor.
Okay, so you want to tell me what your version of the events were of November 9th of 2020?
Yes, Your Honor. I had gone to Mexico for a business trip meeting, and I had my friend who was visiting from Mexico staying at my place, and at that same time, I had another roommate who was renting the room next to Ryan Davis's room. His name was Dave. I received a call from Dave on November 9th that is constant sex going on.
Okay, so you received a call from the other person living in your house who you were renting a room to.
Right.
Okay, and then, don't tell me what he said. Can't tell me, that's all hearsay.
Well, I've heard prior to all the sexual acts taking place.
Listen to me. You personally?
Yes.
When you were home?
Yes.
Okay, so you heard what was going on behind his closed doors?
Right, day and night.
Okay.
Like there's no tomorrow.
Okay, well, maybe, maybe jealous.
Whitney smirks.
Okay.
Disrespectful.
Shh. Okay, so he was becoming an annoying tenant.
Yes.
For whatever reason.
Yes.
Keep going. You sent him a text. He called you. You had heated words. He comes home from work. You're in the kitchen.
Yes.
He comes into the kitchen and
I told him, Ryan, we've gone through this many times before. I've addressed this to you about your girlfriend coming here all the time, day and night, and now she's here every day. What he was doing was sneaking her in late at night, and that's how I wouldn't know that she snuck back in. There were times I came home from work, and she was already there when Ryan wasn't even there, so she had the key, obviously.
Okay, now let's go to November 9th.
November 9th, I confronted him. I said that this is just way too much. My other roommate wants to leave. He cannot take it anymore.
And
then he said, well, she isn't here. And my...
Okay, he said she wasn't here. Keep going.
Then he cussed at my friend who was visiting from Mexico. He said, get this bitch out of here.
That's not true.
Don't interrupt.
And,
okay.
I said, you can talk to her.
Okay, let's go.
Right. Then he went into his room. He came back. He brought a samurai sword with him. And he flashed it at me. I'm going to slice you in half like a butter.
Okay.
What?
And I'm like shocked at that time. Don't know what's going on with him because he's just changing character. I'm scared of my life. I'm scared of my guests.
Okay. And then what happened? So
And
he
then
came out
I said, you need to get out of here. You need to move.
And then he went back. He didn't do anything with the sword.
No, he didn't. He went back in the room with the sword. He put it there, but then he came back and he pushed me against the wall. As he was pushing me, I tried to block him by putting my two hands up. And when he pushed me, it bruised. I had a cut on my wrist, but there was a bruise.
Okay.
And
now,
I
at
said,
what
I'm going to
point?
call the police.
Okay, so you called the police when he came back out of his room the second time, this time without the
Yes.
sword. And the police took a report.
Yes.
Do you have that report?
Yes.
I'd
right
like
here.
to see it.
Alex produces a document.
Mr. Davis, do you have a copy of the police report or
I
any
have it right
follow-up
here, too,
report?
Your
I'd like to see that too.
Kevin brings Ryan's document to Judy.
Mr. Davis, where did you get the sword from?
My girlfriend at the time,
Which girlfriend?
Twana.
When did she get it for you?
She got it during my birthday, for a birthday gift.
When's your birthday?
October 31st.
And this happened on November 9th.
Correct.
Between October 31st and November 9th, did you have occasion to show Mrs. Zaidi prior to November 9th? So
Never,
between
Your Honor.
31st and the 8th, did you show Mr. Zaidi the sword?
Never, Your Honor. He's
Just
a liar.
just a sec. Just answer my question. He was there or not there, according to you?
There.
He was there.
Correct.
Okay, good.
His guest was also there for about 2 weeks.
Just who cares about his guest? He owns the house.
A courthouse. The Judy Justice logo appears. In the courtroom, Ryan and Alex.
Ryan Davis has accused his former landlord, Alex Zaidi, of causing a false arrest. Alex says Ryan threatened him with a samurai sword.
Okay. October 31st to November 8th, did you ever show Mr. Zaidi the sword?
No, Your Honor.
No.
No.
Okay. So unless he went into your room,
He went into my room.
unless he went into your room prior to November 9th, there was no way he would have seen the sword.
Correct.
Okay. And when did you go away on this business trip, sir?
On the 9th.
That day?
Yes, in the morning.
And on what day did you first see this sword that was in his room?
On the evening of November 9th.
That was the first time, not his
First,
birthday, not second day, not third day. Okay. Does his room have a lock on it, by the way?
From inside.
From inside. Mr. Davis, were you on probation at the time of this incident for something in Riverside
Yes,
that involved a fraud?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay. And that wasn't a fraud dating back to 2004?
It was dating back
No, it wasn't an incident.
for 2000 and, I believe, 15.
Okay. So when you told me before, and I'm not even going to have Whitney read it back, you said the last time you had this speeding little problem and evading police, I said, well, before that? And you said, yeah, I did before that in 2004.
Correct.
But that was a lie.
Which was like...
Just a second, that was a lie. You had another case involving a fraud in 2015 on which you were on probation, which means that you were either found guilty or took a plea.
Correct.
Okay. And when the police officer, Mr. Davis, took down your statement, you said that while you acknowledged that you had a samurai sword in your room, you said you had never shown it to Mr. Zaidi.
Correct, Your Honor.
You had never showed it at any time. Well, then how would he know that you had a samurai sword, sir, in your room when he called the police?
Because he was going in my room, I believe, when I was not there, going through my stuff.
Okay.
That's the only other way I can know that he was...
I'm not finished reading this, yes.
Okay, that's fine.
That's like the 2015 case. You just remembered. Do you have any other police reports that you'd like me to see, Mr. Davis?
Not a police report, but I have the bail bonds receipt that I paid. And
I'm not interested in your bail bonds receipt.
I have the DA reject.
I'd like to see it.
Yeah, they rejected the case right here.
Yeah,
They refused
I'd like
to
to
file
see it.
charges. Your Honor, there's a conflicting story where he said he was left on the 9th because he was there 2 weeks with his guest prior to that. So how could he leave on the 9th if his guest was there 2 weeks prior to
I
the
asked
9th?
him when he left for his... Sir, you didn't understand the reason for my question. I wanted to know if he had been gone from October 31st, which was your birthday, to the 8th. That's why I asked him when he left on his business trip.
Correct.
And he said he didn't leave until the date of this incident. You want to say he left before?
He did
That would
leave
be
before.
interesting.
He
What?
did leave before.
He did.
Yes.
On what date did he leave?
I don't know the exact date, but I
A
know
week
it's-
before, 5 days before?
It was maybe about a few weeks before...
November 9th?
Yeah, a few weeks.
Then he wouldn't have been able to see your sword because he wouldn't have been coming in and out of your
He
room.
was there from the 9th.
Well,
from
this
the
happened on the
31st
9th.
From the 31st to the 9th, he was there.
Well, you just told me he left 2 weeks before.
I'm saying he was gone before that date, and then on the 31st, between the 31st and the 9th, he was there at the place.
Okay, well, that's what he says. He said he was there, and the business was only one day. He left on the 9th, and he came home on the 9th. You said, no, he was there for 2 weeks before. Well, if he was there for 2 weeks before and you didn't get the sword until 31st of October, he could not have seen it by going in and out of your room. So you have to sort of get your story straight, sir. So he was there or not there, according to you?
He was there.
He was there?
Correct.
Okay, good.
His guest was also there for about 2 weeks.
Just who cares about his guest? He owns the house.
Okay.
Okay, it was a misdemeanor case and they declined to prosecute it.
Correct.
Your case is dismissed, Mr. Davis, for several reasons. It's dismissed because it was brought in an untimely fashion. It was brought 2 years after the fact for no valid reason.
Your Honor,
it's dismissed for that. It's dismissed for a second reason, because I find some of your testimony, sir, incredible. And one of the reasons I say that is because you were not forthcoming with a legitimate answer to me with regard to your prior history, which isn't always dispositive, but if you had something pending for evading the police, and you had something pending for evading the police while you were on probation for a crime for which you were convicted, either after trial or after hearing, do you understand? You would remember that. Are you still on probation?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay, your case is dismissed. We're done.
This
You're
court is
making a
adjourned.
big mistake, Your Honor. You have guests over 2 to 3 weeks at a time, but I have a girl over for 3 days, and now it's World War III.
He was only allowed to stay there by himself, not with his girlfriend.
I never went at him with a samurai sword.
It was pretty scary.
He basically just used the system against me because I'm a person of color and I have a record already, so I fit the bill.
He had a criminal record. When I rented the room to him, he was asking for a second chance.
It's easier for them to lock somebody up who's already been to jail.
Nobody was renting him the room, and he was saying he's trying to start a new life.
I'm 6'1", 200 pounds. I wouldn't even need a weapon if I was going to assault him, but I never did.
Thank you, Judge Judy.
Judy and Sarah.
You know, there are so many lessons from this case, I think, Sarah. One of them is there's a reason that the law tells you to bring an action in a timely fashion, right?
Many reasons.
Many reasons. One is because it's not like an afterthought, you know, and there are reasons for delays. You were in a hospital, you go into the armed forces, but here there was no really legitimate reason for him not bringing this kind of case in a timely fashion. And the other one that's always a good thing to me, what did you think about his credibility?
Yeah, I think it's hard for a fact finder to believe the totality of your testimony if one of the first questions, just about a simple question of your prior history with law enforcement, if you have any pending charges, I think that's a very simple question. If you aren't fully truthful with the fact finder on that question, it makes it really difficult, and the rest of your testimony is now suspect.
That's true. And so
business, vet bills, and an assault.
Court come to order. All rise.
Judy enters.
Have a seat, please.
Kevin approaches.
Hello, Judge. Case number 2036, Carter versus Ashley.
Thank you. Welcome. Your sisters, is that correct?
Yes.
You decided, according to your complaint, to go into a business, some sort of a doggy daycare. In what month and year did you decide to go into that business?
This year, 2 months ago, May.
Do you have any dogs of your own?
Yes.
How many?
I have a poodle and 2 pits.
And you?
I have 4 pit bulls.
Did they all live in your home?
They did, yes.
They did?
Yes.
The two of you decided to go into this alleged business and needed some space, according to you, and went to the defendant who was renting a house. Is that right, Mr. Ashley?
No, it's not a house.
What is it?
It's a building.
What kind of building?
It's a commercial building.
Okay. On this commercial building lot, there's a backyard or a back
yes.
empty space, and it's an open space with a fence.
Yes.
So it's not a home.
No.
What arrangements did you make with the Carter sisters to rent them that space?
I made arrangement with Deborah Carter.
Yes.
Charles hands a document to Kevin, who brings it to Judy. She reviews it.
Deborah Carter.
Correct.
That's you.
Yes.
When for the first time did you meet Deborah?
I think it was around the 4th of June.
And she wanted to bring some dogs onto your property.
Correct.
How many dogs did she want to bring on your property?
She didn't tell me. She told me she had a kennel. And when I got there and she had the dogs there in 2 cages, it was 7 dogs, 7 pit bulls.
In cages?
And yes, and they're there today.
They're still there?
Yes.
May I see them, please?
I don't have them, and I didn't know what to get together.
Okay, I'd like to see what pictures you have, sir.
He hands documents to Kevin.
This is the 30-day notice that I've given her, and those are the pictures where she damaged.
Miss Carter, sometime after June of this year, did you place dogs in this fenced-in open space in cages?
Yes.
Loud. You hear the way I'm talking?
Yes.
And how many dogs did you place in the cages?
At that time, it was 7.
7 adult dogs?
No, there's 3 adults and 4 puppies or 5.
How old were the puppies?
They were 6 months, 5 or 6 months.
Who did the dogs belong to?
Me.
So all those dogs...
Well...
Judge, let's get it right the first time. This is not going to get easier. This is going to get harder, Miss Carter. So the 7 dogs that you... Stop playing with your papers. The 7 dogs that you placed in the cages were your dogs.
Mine's my sister's and another friend.
How many were yours? You had 4 pit bulls.
Mm-hmm.
Were your 4 pit bulls there?
Yes.
Yes, that's a yes. So you're 4. Your sister has 2 pit bulls. Were her... Look at me. Your sister has 2 pit bulls. Were her 2 pit bulls there?
Yes.
So that's 6. And somebody else had 1.
Mm-hmm.
Who was the person who had 1?
They're not here. It's a friend. We were watching their dog. They
okay,
have a
so
dog.
you put your 4 pit bulls, your sister's 2 pit bulls, and a friend's pit bull in 2 cages.
No.
How many cages?
There are 4 cages, but...
Okay, I'd like to see pictures of the 4 cages. There you go.
Denise hands a photo of caged pit bulls to Kevin, who brings it to Judy.
And that's just to separate them.
Your Honor, when she
by
first...
6.
Shh. Just a second. Prior to meeting the defendant, where did you keep your 4 pit bulls?
In the yard at my home.
Was it in the backyard that you kept the 4 pit bulls?
Yeah, they had space in the backyard, but they stayed in the house. And then when it's time to do that thing, they go outside. They stayed in the house in the living room.
So they were house dogs?
Yes.
And what about your 2 pit bulls?
I stayed in the front house. They stayed in the house with me.
On what date did you bring your pit bulls to the yard? June 4th?
June 6th.
6/6. And you paid him for a month. Mm-hmm. Is that right?
Yes.
How much did you pay him for the month?
$500.
And the 3 puppies that were 6 months old, what did you intend to do with those?
We had people that wanted them. We were supposed to move.
Just a second. Were they yours or hers? Who did the 3 puppies belong to?
Me.
They belong to you. So don't speak for her.
Okay.
Good.
I've been speaking for all my life.
I don't care what you've been doing all your life. Right now, I'm getting answers to someone who may or may not be swift enough or savvy enough not to tell me the truth. Did you ever have more than 7 dogs in the yard?
No.
Okay. So this is what I'm sort of confused about. Of the 7 dogs that you kept in his yard, 6 of them were pit bulls that belonged to you. And what you're suing him for is, you say, because of him, you lost your kennel business where you want, well, that's what it says here. You lost your kennel business.
Daycare.
What?
It's a
dog
daycare.
daycare.
It's a daycare.
There's no dog daycare. They were your dogs.
No, we were supposed to be inside. We were only supposed to be outside for a week. The business is a business, like he said. It has a storefront. It has a middle section. The storefront is where we take the small dogs. When you come in, we'll greet you, assess it, bring in the small dogs. If you have bigger dogs, he has a middle section. We were supposed to split the building in half.
And he never
He never cleaned the inside of the building. We had to go in there, power wash it ourselves. We bought our own paint. We were only supposed to be outside for 2 weeks until his people cleaned the inside for us.
Okay. Is that what you were supposed to do?
No, Your Honor, they are lying.
Okay.
The building was a motorcycle shop. They ain't bought no paint. They ain't cleaned nothing in it. It's still not clean.
Okay.
And
Were they
didn't have no money.
Just a second. How much in total did they give you for rent?
$500.
Is that correct?
Yes.
For the first
Just
month.
a second. Did you give him any more than $500?
No.
Did you have any other dogs other than your 6 dogs and somebody else's 1 pit bull ever on the premises?
No.
No, don't speak. I'm speaking to her. So whatever business you were, your investment in this business was $500.
No. I worked for him May 25th to June 1st. I cleaned out 25 refrigerators.
I don't care. That's not in here.
That was a pay. Yes, it is.
She ain't worked for me.
Just a second.
I sent it to you guys.
Just a second. Miss Carter, there is absolutely nothing here that says that you worked for him and he owes you for that.
Well,
let me tell you what your complaint states. Your complaint says money owed for sabotaging a business, vet bills because one of your dogs was injured, and
I'm not saying
actual and punitive damages for assault. That's what you're claiming.
I'm just saying that I cleaned those appliances. He said that that was a payment for rent. So that was for the second month of rent. It was $500.
Just a second.
He was supposed to pay me every day, but I just told him to put it towards the rent.
Okay.
And that's what we agreed to. So
okay,
the first month and the second month was paid for.
Listen to me. My question is simple.
Yes.
There's only one attitude here, madam. Stand up. Are your dogs still there?
Some of them.
Get them off his property.
Why is that?
It's not
It's
his
over.
property.
Very easy. You want to keep dogs in a cage like this? I can't control that. I am certainly not putting a judicial imprimatur on keeping dogs, and I don't care what breed they are, in cages in a backyard. So what I'm telling you this is you have 24 hours to get your dogs off that property. Get them off. He's going to get an order from a marshal. And if your dogs aren't off that property, they're going to the pound.
So
do you
why
understand?
is that?
I want you to understand. I want you to understand my order, because now we're in August. You started this whole process in June. I'm finishing it before it gets too mucky. Get your dogs off the property. We understand each other?
Why is that?
Why? What did we do? We paid. We did everything.
No. You paid him for 1 month in June.
But
You paid him in 1 month in June. We are now in August. This is a marriage that's not going to go well. Get your dogs off his property, and then you don't have to deal with them anymore. Do you understand?
It's not his
No,
property.
I don't understand. You don't understand that
if it's not his property, then what are you suing him for?
Because he's the one who stabbed me.
Oh, just a second. Just a second. So if we're eliminating money owed for sabotaging a business, and if you're suing him for assault, then I'll hear your assault. Then I don't have to hear any of the things about the dogs. So all I'm going to hear about is the assault. Tell me what happened. You were assaulted. That's what you want to tell me.
Yes, July 5th, we had came. My witness, if she could speak, she had
No, she wasn't assaulted, right?
Yes.
Okay.
She was assaulted first, actually. She's the first one he swung on.
Okay. Step up. July 5th, your name is what?
Priscilla Walker.
You don't own any of these dogs, do you?
No, ma'am.
What were you doing on the property on the 5th of July?
I sometimes go and help them with the dogs, clean up and feed the dogs.
And those dogs that were there, they were there for at least a month from June 4th to July 5th.
Correct.
They're 6 pit bulls.
Correct.
Right? That used to be, according to them, in the backyard or in their homes, right?
Correct.
Okay, now, Priscilla, I want you to look at me, and they're your friends, right? So you went over to help them.
Yes.
I want you to tell me what it is that caused them to take these house dogs, dogs that were in their homes and in their backyard if they had to relieve themselves, don't speak, and move them into cages in a backyard in a commercial building. I want you to tell me that.
Your Honor, that wasn't the intent. They moved the dogs for a bigger space because they're entrepreneurs and they wanted to start a business.
Just a second, it's not their business. Business is starting a business with somebody else's dogs, not your dogs. They wanted to start a doggy, uncross your arms. They wanted to start, according to them, a doggy daycare. That I understand. But you don't start a doggy daycare by taking your dogs that are house dogs and putting them in cages in somebody else's backyard.
Why not?
Or somebody else's space.
Your Honor, that's not necessarily true. We're millennials. When you're boosting a business, you want to use yourself and what you have as advertisement. And that's what they did. So the other dog that they did have was a friend, and the friend was actually paying for that dog to stay there. So it did deem it a business at that time.
You still haven't answered my question as to why their 6 pit bulls were in cages when they were formerly house dogs for a month.
Your Honor, the gentleman over here to my left did not allow them they didn't have access to what they paid for.
Just a second. Are you telling me that for a month they didn't have access for the dog? You just told me that you would go there and help them clean up.
To the inside of the building that was promised
I'm not
to them?
talking about the inside of the building.
Okay.
And the
pay clear.
We got the whole yard.
Pay careful.
Yard inside the building.
They're not hearing all of you, and you're not answering my question. The 3 of you went there for what purpose on July 5th?
To feed and clean up after the dogs.
How'd you spend the weekend with them?
I was
not speaking to you.
Deborah grins. A courthouse. The Judy Justice logo appears. In the courtroom, Deborah, Denise, Priscilla, and Charles.
Denise and Deborah Carter claim their former landlord, Charles Ashley, broke an agreement to store their dogs. They also claim he assaulted them. Charles claims he was the one who was assaulted.
Okay, if I was starting a doggy daycare business and I had house dogs, my little Shih Tzus, running around the house where they have been for years, I would not take them and put them in cages in a back vacant lot in order to demonstrate that I had a business.
My dogs slept
just a
in the house. They slept in the house. They didn't roam in like your little Shih Tzus. They didn't do that.
Just a second. You told me that they stayed in your house.
I said they slept in the house, in a cage, in an area.
Yeah, well, that's exactly what I'm saying. I don't understand how you could take your pets.
But they stayed outside.
Because we were offering other things. We wanted to have
All right, let's get to the assault. I'm not interested in this. Now.
Your Honor, I have the lease here. I'm paying the owner $4,000 a month.
He lied to the loaner and said he wasn't going to do any sublease, and he subleased.
The only thing I'm interested in is the only thing I'm interested in is the assault. So, Priscilla, don't speak. The 3 of you went there for what purpose on July 5th?
To feed and clean up after the dogs.
Okay, and you had done that before?
Yes.
And when you got there on July 5th, was that over a holiday weekend?
Yes, it was.
It was a Tuesday.
It was a Tuesday, so July 4th was on a Monday.
Yeah.
Had you spent the weekend with them?
I was
not speaking to you. Had you spent the weekend with them?
No. Yeah.
Okay, you say yes, she says no. I'm not asking you a question. Do you understand? So you spent July 4th.
Go ahead.
You spent July 4th with them. Is either yes or no?
No.
When did you meet them on July 5th?
Around the morning.
Around what time?
11 a.m.
You're asking me with a question.
11 a.m.
I don't know if it was 11. I'm asking you.
11 a.m.
Did you have a discussion with them?
Regarding?
regarding the dogs, what you were going to do that day.
Of course, we always have discussions about what we're going to do during the day.
Okay. When you spoke to Deborah, did you ask her when she had last seen the dogs?
No.
No, you did not. Deborah, prior to July 5th, when had you last seen the dogs?
July 4th.
What time?
It was about 5 o'clock. I was in there, cleaned them up. He came, locked me in for 4 hours.
Okay. So on July 4th, you were in there feeding the dogs.
Yeah.
And July 5th, you went back in the morning again to feed the dogs. Mm-hmm. Is not an answer.
Yeah.
Now, tell me what happened when you got there on July 5th.
On July 5th, when we went inside to feed the dogs, I went to go turn on the water hose, and I noticed that the water would not come out. That's when they were in the kennels feeding the dogs, and I told Carter that, hey, the water's not on. So the door to the building was open. I believe they both stepped in. When they stepped in, there was like verbal altercation.
So when they stepped in, you heard that there was someone else in the building?
Yeah.
Okay. And that would have been you, sir?
Yes.
On the 5th?
Yes, me and another friend of mine.
Okay. And what were you doing in the building on July 5th?
It was about 6 o'clock that evening. My friend came by the house. He's a general contractor, and I'm renovating the building to set it up for business. So I said, come on, let me take you up here, show you the building. I need your help. We get up there. I open the gate, go in, leave the gate unlocked, and we walk through the building. When I come around, they're in the building.
All three of them or just one?
All three of them.
Had you turned the water off to the hose outside?
No.
Do you
I used
know?
to water the dogs when they didn't come because they'd be barking so, and the neighbors next door, I just moved in, Your Honor. I don't want to make no enemies. That's why I told them I'm not taking no more rent from you. Get the dogs out.
Okay.
I tell them you trespass.
Just a second. So now you went inside, or the Carter sisters went inside.
Yeah, I said
You
that.
heard some noise. Did you go into the building?
Yes.
Okay. And what happened when you went into the building?
When I went into the building, he immediately got very frustrated and said, what are you guys doing here? Why are you here? You need to get off my property, get off my property. They're like, we paid you. We have an agreement. And next thing you know, he pushed Deborah Carter. He pushed her. And then that's when Denise Carter got in the middle and said, no, you're not, don't put your hands on my sister. The situation ensued. The gentleman that was inside stopped everything and walked him out of the building. And as he's walking him out of the building, and we're walking out behind him so that we can try to figure out what's going on with the water, he slams her foot in the door and tries to lock her in and pushes her. And that's when they started pushing on the door, because at this point he's trying to lock them in.
Lock them in the building?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
When they actually, the gentleman stopped him and the door opened, I seen what type of altercation it was. I didn't want anything to do with it. I'm like,
so at that point, nobody was injured?
No.
Okay. So now you're outside?
Now we're outside.
Okay. And you're outside in the back area where the dogs are?
Correct.
Tell me what happened next.
So as we're walking, I'm walking fast because I noticed that he's walking fast. And I'm like, you're not about to lock me in here. You already just tried to lock them in there.
You mean lock you in the
yard?
yard? So you got out of the yard?
Yes, he tried to close the yard gate on us, which is a really big, tall, black gate. And as soon as he tried to close it, it was just an altercation, a verbal altercation started. He didn't like what was said. I was on the left-hand side.
Tell me what the altercation was.
Everything was said about the business, that they were going to speak to the owner, that, he still owed them money if he wanted them to move out for the rest of the month, that he could just give them the money or whatever and they'll leave. It wasn't a problem.
By the way, I am looking at your lease, and you did lease the premises from June of 2022 to May 31st, 2025 at a monthly rent of $4,000. Are you still paying rent to the owner of the building?
Yes, ma'am.
You have to remove your dogs there.
He's not paying rent. He has an eviction notice too. He owes $4,000. I have a picture of it.
He's lying.
He hasn't paid rent.
When was
Nothing
he
else
hasn't
he's
paid
saying
rent
is true.
this month or last month. He got the eviction last month on the 11th.
Okay. Right now, he has not been evicted from the property. Is that correct, or have you?
Right.
I just paid him yesterday.
Why did you say you...
Just a second. Oh, I'm asking a simple question. I have before me, ladies, pay attention. I have before me a lease that gives him 3/4 of the building and the backyard. Until he's evicted, until this lease is deemed void, you have to remove your dogs within 24 hours of today.
Why?
I am evicting you with a marshal tomorrow. Get your dogs out of there. He has medical records that he received 5 staples in the top of his head. And that's not something he did to himself.
That happened.
That's not something he... Get up, stand up. Where do you think you are?
Denise straightens. A courthouse. The Judy Justice logo appears. In the courtroom, Deborah, Denise, Priscilla, and Charles.
Denise and Deborah Carter have accused their former landlord, Charles Ashley, of breaking their agreement and assaulting them. Charles claims Denise and Deborah attacked him first.
Okay, we're going to get back to this assault because I have other things to do today. You're outside. The gate that he's tried to cross has opened up again. And
he got really angry. He was saying a lot of curse words, you know, you need to remove all your, you know what, if you don't remove it, I'm gonna remove it for you type stuff. And after that, he swung with his right hand and it connected with my face. After that, he started punching on all of us, so we had to defend ourselves and fight back.
And then an altercation got started, and everybody was fighting with everybody. So it was the 3 of you and him.
Yes.
Okay.
Correct.
Did you go to a doctor?
No, but I was.
Did you, just a second. Did you take photographs of your face?
No.
What about you? Deborah, were you hit by the defendant?
Yes, I was.
Where were you hit by the
face and my
Did you?
foot. No pictures, and I didn't go to the doctor. I self-healed.
Good. And what about you, Miss Carter? Where were you hit?
Doctor. I had to go to the ER because I had to get stitches. I had 9 stitches.
Okay. Well, tell me about the stitches. That's what I want to know. How did the cut that required the stitches take place?
When he was attacking us, he was swinging on me, and he had a blade in his hand, and I thought he was punching me, but really when I was blocking myself, he was taking.
That was the second occurrence, because after the first one, we tried to leave the situation. He was upset and put out a knife.
We thought we were leaving,
with
he
the
just
knife.
came back with the knife, and
now I'd like to see the records.
Here's the knife records, and then here's the police records on when he was arrested, and that's just like my stitches and what doctor I went to and like my medication.
Okay, now I'm going to take a look.
Kevin brings documents to Judy, who reviews them.
Okay, Mr. Ashley, the only thing that I actually want to know about from you is there's no question in my mind that the plaintiff did not cut herself. No question. I want to know how she got cut.
I don't know, Your Honor. I didn't even have a wallet on me. I'm 75 years old. I wouldn't even argue with her. I went to the back door, the gate, and they had a trash can where they had propped it open. So I went to move the trash can, and that's when this one hit me and knocked me down. And when I was coming up, Deborah hit me in the head with a 2x4, and blood just went everywhere.
Did you go to the doctor?
Yes.
I'd like to see your report.
It's in the record.
Your Honor, I have a video of what happened. I just saw this right now.
Oh, I'd like to see it.
Okay.
Do you have it through the assault? I'm just interested in the assault.
It's just the assault.
Just the assault?
Yeah, it's just press
I'd like
play
to
right
see it.
here. Okay, if you press play, you'll see him slamming us out.
Kevin brings Denise's phone to Judy, who watches footage of Charles moving a trash can, then blurry, indeterminate footage.
I don't see any assault.
Well, yeah, but I tell you, my phone fell out the hand.
Well, then don't show me what I can't see. All I know is he has medical records that he received 5 staples in the top of his head on that date. And that's not something he did to himself.
No.
Get up, stand up.
He
Where do you
did do
think
that.
you are? You think he did that to himself?
Yes, did you see the tire behind him? He just fell over it.
That's
and
exactly
all
what
that
happened.
wood behind him, he fell on that
Shush.
stuff.
Listen to me. Blunt head trauma, which is what the emergency,
yourself down.
Okay.
You attacked us.
You
You're
have-
attacking us and punching.
Listen to me. Listen to me carefully. You have now sit. You have 24 hours to get your dogs out of that yard. You want to show me pictures of a trash-strewn yard? That's not where I would keep my precious house dogs for an hour. So get your dogs out of there 24 hours from today.
How do I counter that?
This is not a dance party. I'm ruling now. 24 hours, remove your dogs. You have nothing left to do with him. He wants you gone. I want you gone. I want those dogs out of the cages on that property, and I want them gone within 24 hours. Now, there's no question, Mr. Ashley, that both of you were injured in that altercation. No question. All I'm asking is, subsequent to your arrest, did you have a hearing?
No, Your Honor, I have it right here. They rejected the case.
May I see it?
They wouldn't even hear it.
Charles hands a document to Kevin, who brings it to Judy. She reviews it.
They rejected it. Did you have a hearing?
They didn't tell me about anything.
They didn't tell you about anything. Well, that's because they rejected the case. Okay, I'm telling you, because I'm issuing an order, I'm giving it to you. You're the lawful tenant of the building. You can take it to a marshal, take it to the sheriff. Those dogs have to be out of there within 24 hours. We're done here.
This court is adjourned.
You know, it is what it is.
I thought it was a good decision. It was the truth.
He has no consequences. It just is the reason why you don't believe in the judicial system.
I'm not going to be renting out to them no more, and I'm not going to rent to nobody.